Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Gardner, and thank you for watching the Hip Hop Town Hall live on diradiocast.com. Today, we will be touching on life after Mike Brown and the Ferguson protests. So, we encourage you to please leave your thoughts, share your messages and your comments with us on the live stream as well. I'm sure you can see right now, you can follow directions and put your comments, etc., wherever it left, right-hand side. We are now streaming. We are just waiting for people to come, so thank you for being on time. Obviously, our people know how to be fashionably late. So just please hold on. Like I said, feel free to leave your comments. We will be sharing them with everyone else as well. And thank you for watching the Hip Hop Town Hall live on diradiocast.com. Shout out to Africa and Hollywood Kid.
Once again, we are live at the Hip Hop Town Hall in Atlanta, Georgia at the Omen Agency, 299 Peter Street. Streaming live on diradiocast.com. If you would like to participate in today's event, please call in via 716-293-9238. That's 716-293-9283. The PIN number is 56758. Once again, the telephone number is 716-293-9283. PIN number 56758. You can also participate by doing the Q&A. The Q&A, all you have to do is click on Q&A in your browser screen and send your messages. You'll be able to see the questions on the screen, and we will answer in accordance.
Okay. Now that we got the flight attendant rules out of the way, it's your boy, Hollywood Kid. I'm in the building. Omen Agency, Hip Hop Town Hall. Happy to be here. So, Renee, the G, kind of the spearhead behind this, actually the spearhead behind this, the brains behind this. So yeah, while we're waiting for people to come in, I would like for you just to tell us a little bit about the Hip Hop Town Hall in general, what you aim to do and how this came about. How about that?
Well, the Hip Hop Town Hall came about because I am an artist as well as in the media, and I've had a lot of conversations with different people, whether they've been artists, professionals in the industry, or just hip hop supporters, about the issues that are going on in the streets, in the industry. And there really wasn't a place where everyone can actually just get together and just talk and have conversation. We go out all the time, we go to events, we have drinks, and we party, and we see each other and say, hey, but we never get a chance to really talk as a whole about all the issues that maybe one or two of us might complain about. So I bought this idea to the Omen Agency, which is here right on Peter Street, has a beautiful facility. They do CD duplication, they have a studio, production, they book tours, artists, everything that you could possibly need as an artist, they have it. And the one thing that they did actually want is a way to touch back and give back to the community throughout them doing all these other things. So we decided that we would have the Hip Hop Town Hall once a month, the last Wednesday of every month, and each month we would pick a topic that's either important to us in the community, such as Mike Brown and the Ferguson protest this month, or we would pick one of the topics that we ask a lot of our attendees and the people online, such as you guys on diradiocast.com, to see what they want us to talk about.
Right. So that's a good question I had. How long have you been doing this now?
We have been doing this since January.
January. So that's 8 months. All right. And how's your response been? What's the turnout like?
The response has been very great. The turnout has probably, I would say, an average between 30 to 50, 60 people. I definitely feel like some of the issues that seem a little bit lighter get more attention than the ones that are a little bit heavier. So, a lot of people will come out to just talk about industry stuff or the gossip or whatever, but when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, such as the one that we did at the Apex Museum, it was definitely a smaller crowd.
Right. So yeah, tell us maybe some of the topics that you've covered in this 7-8 month period.
Ooh, okay, we've covered the media, we've covered industry politics. Yes, definitely the media, industry politics, real hip hop, and what is it? Of course, life after Mike Brown and the Ferguson protests. We did our first one, we covered a couple different topics, maybe about 5 or 6 different topics, and just was more of an introduction. And let's see, that's pretty much it as I can think of. But we have a hiphoptownhall.com website coming up that you guys will be able to check out all of the old footage and everything. But in the meantime, you can go to diradiocast.com. They have covered pretty much every single one of the events, and you can check out all of the live stream footage as well as the flyers and everything there. And if you Google Hip Hop Town Hall in Atlanta, I'm very sure you'll see a lot of the media put their photos and their videos. If you go to Instagram and Twitter and hashtag Hip Hop Town Hall, you'll see a lot of the videos. The one thing that we do have about it is we have a lot of media people that have supported it and came out here. So we are grateful for them to help spread the word to other people.
All right. And where do you envision the Hip Hop Town Hall going? How do you see it growing? What direction? Tell us about that.
Where I see the Hip Hop Town Hall going, I definitely would like to see it go to other cities as well as other platforms such as South by Southwest, A3C, and other musical platforms where the hip-hop community does come get together. And like I said, they politic and they have music and everything else. I definitely think that this would be an opportunity for just people all over just to feel like they have a platform that's there to listen to how they feel as being a part of the hip-hop community. So I definitely would like to see it go to other cities, but I would also like to see a lot of the people who have such great influence here actually support the platform, not necessarily myself. I mean, really as I don't want to say anyone, but anyone can really get up here and, host a hip hop town hall and do this and bring the people, part of your community, together to talk about serious issues. So I just would really like everyone, from Chicago to St. Louis to the many cities in California and New York, I just definitely want those people to come out and say, hey, you know what, if Atlanta can do this, we can do this too, and just definitely start really talking to each other.
Okay, so since you put that out there, if people in St. Louis or New York or California or wherever they may be want to perhaps reach out to you and perhaps put on a hip hop town hall of themselves, or is that something you were looking to spearhead, or how can they reach you? What should they do?
Well, I would be interested in hearing their ideas and things of it, and I definitely would help spearhead that. You can reach me, I guess, at my email, which is therenegardner@gmail.com. So it's TheReneeGardner@gmail. If you cannot remember that, or if you cannot rewind this, you can go to the flyer, and my first and last name is on there. So all you have to do is add the Renee Gardner at Gmail. My Instagram is on there, and my Twitter as well. It's at Renee the G. So you can always find me and just let me know, hey, I want to bring the Hip Hop Town Hall to my city. And if you don't hear anything from me, I know you can go to diradiocast.com and let them know, and they will definitely relay the message.
So speaking of everywhere like air, this one might be a kind of difficult, long-winded question, but tell the people, in your opinion, how dope is DI Radio Desk? I'm gonna give you a minute.
They are definitely dope. One of the things I'm very sure they're giving you a lot of information that you might have been able to find in other places, but the one thing that sets DI Radiocast apart from everybody else is the custom content that they do provide. The fact that they do live stream this, such as the Hip Hop Town Hall, as well as other events. I don't know if Hollywood Kid remembers this, but he is like one of the first people to make a video and put it online on site of me actually performing as an artist. So that is one thing that I'm definitely grateful for. No, but I don't know if if you remember. You do a lot. He does a lot of things for a lot of different artists. So, just literally since the beginning of me going and just singing some of my songs at Apache, DI Radiocast has always been there. So.
Yeah, I actually met you as an artist and found out later, oh, she does all this other stuff too. So that's great. So that's what's up. Thank you, Renee. Shout out to my man. Y'all can see Black Nicholson back here. You want to come and say something real quick, sir? Come on, real quick. Oh, and we have our other host with the most, Fort Knox. Come here, Knox. Come here, Fort Knox. Come here. We're live right now, sir. We're live streaming. You wanna do your intro? Do a Fort Knox intro. I don't know if this is people around the world. Y'all may know this gentleman. He's a hip hop heavyweight, literally. His name is Fort Knox, but I couldn't even introduce him like he does. So I'm gonna just let him do that.
Yo, what's good, people? It's your man Fort Knox, live and direct. DI Radio Cast, we are getting it popping crazy right here for the Hip Hop Town Hall. It's a beautiful thing. Continue to support us from afar. We are getting it popping and keeping it moving. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Aight.
That's what's up. So appreciate it. So Knox, real quick. We just talked with Renee real quick about the Hip Hop Town Hall. So tell us how integral you are. Like, what role do you play as a host? Like, what do you do with the Hip Hop Town Hall?
Basically, it's a simple situation. Big ups once again to Renee, Omen Agency, for having this Hip Hop Town Hall. It's a platform. The role I play, I'm a moderator. But to be honest with you, it's really a open format. So while Renee and I may lead the pack, at the end of the day, it's for everyone to speak their piece. And that's what we appreciate. That's what we try to promote. Come through, open up your heart, open up your mind, open up your mouth, and let the words flow forth. Wisdom, opinions, suggestions, the whole nine. Come with it.
So tell us how important something like this is for the hip hop community. You've been around here for a long time in Atlanta, so what do you think is the importance of Hip Hop Town Hall?
It's extremely important because the bottom line is it gives people a voice. At the end of the day, there are a lot of panel discussions. There are a lot of events that go on, from showcases, producer beat battles, what have you. Other aspects of hip hop, parties, the whole nine. But when you have hip hop as a culture and you look at how it touches the world, how it affects the world from fashion to politics across the board, those are some of the other components that we bring to the table here, that we open up a platform for here.
So speaking of everywhere like air, being around the world, like you said just a moment ago, let's narrow this down, the scope, the importance of today's Hip Hop Town Hall and what's going on in Missouri. You want to speak a little bit about the Mike Brown Ferguson situation from your perspective?
Indeed, from my perspective, which is a shared perspective from my brother Killer Mike, he did a dope interview on CNN, and I like how he expounded on the fact that it's not only important to Black Americans, but to Americans across the board. Because he said it best, what they'll do to the least of us, they'll do to all. So beware. And we're going to get into this in the panel as well, but the discussion as far as them keeping the identity of the cop secret for a while, him not being immediately arrested, this is not common. This is not common at all whatsoever. These are issues to be addressed, but in a calm and peaceful manner. At the end of the day, y'all tuned in, remain that, because we're going to go deeper into this topic at hand.
Excellent segue for Knox. So I'm gonna step down for a moment. I think we probably gonna get started. I'm gonna let Renee and Fort Knox take over. So appreciate you, Knox. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Black Nicholson. Thank you, Africa Behind the Boards. It's your boy, Hollywood Kid, Hip Hop Town Hall, Omen Agency. Stay tuned. We ain't going nowhere.
That was great. That was a great interview. Omen Agency in Atlanta, Georgia. Uh, right. Okay. I'll make sure I do that. Ready? Yeah, we can get started. I was just gonna yeah, yeah, you can get started. I mean, it still doesn't matter. Hey guys, thank you for coming out. I know there's only a couple of us here right now, but we have to use the mic so the people in the live stream can hear us. So I know some people are a little ashamed or embarrassed to be on the mic, but are you guys here for the Hip Hop Town Hall? Oh, okay, good. Just want to make sure we have a lot going on here. I guess before I embarrass you guys or, like talk to you guys. Hey y'all, how you doing? That's why I asked. We have a lot of stuff going on here. So thank you for coming to the Hip Hop Town Hall at the Omen Agency, 299 Peters Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Today, as I did mention during our interview, hosted by me, Renee Gardner, and Fort Knox. So as we were talking about in our interview with Hollywood Kid and DI Radiocast, the topic is life after Mike Brown and a Ferguson protest. Honestly, I really just, what I usually do in the beginning is I open up the floor for the people who did actually come early and, get a chance to have their speak because I'm not sure. Is this anyone's first time at the Hip Hop Town Hall? Okay. As you will see, it gets a little crowded in here and then people start throwing their ideas around and it's really hard to kind of get a word in. So if you don't mind, can you tell me what who you are, what you do, and maybe any thoughts or questions that came to mind when you saw the topic?
Okay. What's up, everybody? I'm JC, Miss JC Rocker. Y'all can call me JC K100 intern. What's up, Blizzum? Yeah, but when I saw the topic, my of course, a million thoughts, but the number one thoughts is where do we go from here? Because I'm like Fort Knox said, this ain't common, but it's a shame that it's common because at the end of the day, this is a kid. And as every black woman, I'm not a mother, but I am afraid to bring a son into the world if he's just going to be a freaking target. And that's not cool, not fair, not right. So I want to see where can we go from here, have a solution instead of just losing our mind. Let's, get angry. Everybody has the right to be angry, but let's have a solution so that for those of us who will have kids in the future, we can actually make it safe for them. And that's how I feel.
Well, seeing that you actually did bring your daughter here, she's beautiful. Would you mind going next and introducing yourself?
My name is Del Z, aka Mama GMB. This is Your Majesty. So yeah, this is our first time here, and I'm glad to be here. I came with my crew, GMB ENT. They do music. I just manage and all that other stuff. As far as the topic, I mean, I've been watching CNN. MC Freshman putting us on, making us watch it, and I mean, it's sad. I got 1 plus 3, and 2 of them are boys. So, I mean, I would hate for my kids to, grow up and be a victim of the same situation. It's just sad. I wish it was, more justice, more peaceful things going on in the world. It's just crazy. Yeah.
My name's MC Fresh, also part of GMB and Stealth Life Entertainment. Yeah, I've been keeping up with the whole situation. I went downtown in March when they did the march at CNN, and I really wanted to come out here to see how the people of Atlanta feel about the situation and how can we make a change and what are we going to do if that situation happens here in Atlanta? Because it's happening from state to state. And
My name's Lynette, and I'm here to support Fresh, Money, and Delzy. Um, I didn't know about the topic, but I'm glad I came so we can discuss it. As the young lady said, we need to find a solution, but a lot of people say we got to do this and we got to do that, and then we get out in March and it stops there. We can't wait on someone else and say, oh, nobody's doing anything. We have to pretty much come together and talk about it more, do more within our own communities. Um, there's a lot of kids out there that don't have dads, don't have fathers in their lives. There are girls out there that's doing some crazy stuff that don't have a female to talk to or someone that they can relate to. And unfortunately, they end up in bad situations. Not saying that Mike Brown deserved anything or maybe he was in a bad situation, but, sometimes you are your environment or, you know what I'm saying? So as some of us may be fortunate enough to be able to talk to a teenager, talk to a young man, or talk to someone that, may not be in the position that we are and help them rather than saying, we got to do something. The bottom line is do something about it. So.
How y'all doing? My name Money. Part of GMB ENT Grown Man Business Entertainment. Me and my partner Delzy, we new to the Atlanta area. We just recently came here from Florida, and in Florida we dealt with the whole Trayvon Martin situation. It seemed like it wasn't too long ago. So it's just disturbing to see that this is going on, still going on, and we just here to support the whole movement. Nah, we were Fort Lauderdale area, West Palm Beach, probably like 3-4 hour drive. But the whole state was kind of disgruntled about the whole thing. So it's just something that was touching everywhere in Florida. It's just something that we deal with a lot back home. Police brutality and stuff like that. To me, I didn't really see too much of a difference, man. It just, to me, it looked like, white cop, black kid, you know what I mean? So that's how we look at it, you know what I mean? Like Lynette was saying, Mike Brown, he didn't deserve what happened to him. Me personally, I just, like she said, I got two sons, and we just try to, you know, make respectable young men out of them, you know what I mean, and to give them positive role models and influences, and just try to keep them doing positive things in the community and staying away from anything that could cause them to get into trouble, man. Because my mom always told me trouble easy to get in, but hard to get out of. So we just try to be positive, and like the people that I look up to, the people that I grew up looking up to, the OGs or whatever, don't seem to be cool no more. You know what I mean? Like what the young people, what the youth is looking up to, they don't seem to be cool no more. You know what I mean? So me being, I guess you could say, me being an OG now, me having two younger sons, 5 and 10 years old. You know what I mean? Just try to just be somebody positive that they could look up to.
Can you say that again? They want to make sure you got it on there.
Oh, okay, no doubt. You had mentioned that you went to the CNN march, the march at CNN. What effect do you think that it had overall, and what do you feel would be a follow-up after that?
well, I feel it had a huge impact, but I also felt like the way they did the march was they took you from the CNN and they took you around Centennial Park. I feel like they should have went down Peachtree, where more people can see that we out there protesting. Because a lot of people in the city still don't know that we is out there protesting. And I think that would have helped. And to help the situation, we need more meetings of black people where we could talk about these issues that's going on. and so that we can educate ourselves on how to deal with these situations if we are in front of a racist cop. How do we keep ourselves from going over the edge to the point where they might shoot us?
I I went to the march with Mike and with Fresh and the young lady that put it together. She was a teenager, and I was so proud of her for having thousands of people out there just marching and supporting each other in the rain. And so, she mentioned that she would have a lot of different things coming up, discussions, panels, just things to encourage other teenagers and old, well, not just teenagers, but everyone. So I'm really looking forward to supporting her and going to her events. And it's not about you, Pound. It's not about you. So just to look her up.
Okay, one of the things that I did make sure, because one of the things that I always feel like when doing this hip hop town hall is some people just come because it's obviously benefit, like you said, just to get out and talk to each other and really see how other people feel, or it's like, okay, do they know the same information that I do? But then there are a lot of people who come here and they do feel like they know everything, so they want you to just come up with a solution and say this is what it is, but they might not come with one themselves. I've been talking with the young gentleman for quite some time. His name is Havel Taylor. He's definitely been looking at he's just been doing a lot of research and a couple of different things. And some of the things that you actually even touched on, just in the way how you talk to police officers and everything. And the one thing that I think a lot of people don't always realize or always think about is that when we talk about, I guess, when I heard a lot of the Mike Brown, the Ferguson protests, as much as we talk about police brutality, it usually always comes back to racism. But at the end of the day, the one thing that I think people forget back in history was that we were not supposed to know how to read. So a lot of times with those things and us not being able to read or not reading what's out there, that's what's really hurting us more than anything. Not saying that, of course, when you come in contact with a racist cop at that point, you can't read anything to really save you. But in the beginning, in the first place, a lot of times what people don't realize is that, I guess, if people say, well, it works for the white people, well, that's because they usually sue these people and they make sure that they're accountable for their actions. So one of the things, hey guys, how you doing? One of the things that I wanted to give out, it's pretty much about the bonds of public officials. And I know it's just a little blurb of some things, and it talks about titles and chapters and teaches you exactly how you are able to sue. Are you going to pass them out? Thank you. You can actually sue without an attorney. You don't need a lawyer or an attorney for any of this stuff. I know he gives a couple examples of what to say, or some of the things where you can actually go to see certain things. I know that, let's see, like he said, of course you have to read because there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of things going on. Like you guys said, something's not right. And there's a lot of things that aren't right. And it's actually literally in paperwork and in these rules. Like there's rules where they're not supposed to do this. And if they're supposed to be a peace officer, there's obviously rules against them committing violence against us. So with that being said, it says underneath here, I know every official bond executed under this chapter is obligatory to the principals and sureties therein. Basically, for the use and benefit of every person who is injured. So think about it. Cops, when they have an oath, or attorneys, or etc., whatever, they swear an oath to their public office. They have to have a bond. So they have to put up some type of money or etc., whatever. It's different in each county or each state. I know when I did look it up for, I want to say it's Ferguson. It's not Ferguson, but it's there, I guess, maybe Missouri or etc. I know that their sheriff has to put up between $5,000 and $50,000 or something for his bond, and that means he gives that money to an insurance, pretty much. And I know it has on here, and there's a back too. It's called an interlocal risk management agency. It's almost like an insurance agency. You can have this one. So basically, oh thanks. So basically, just like if you were to get into a car accident, and you can sue somebody or you can file a claim against them and you get your money or you get paid to get your car fixed. That's pretty much the same thing with police officers. Same reason. It's the same, pretty much the same money that they would get. Let's just say if an officer died and the family gets that money, it's kind of like coming out of that whole same pot. Needless to say, I know you guys can read, and I would definitely encourage you guys to look this up. There's a lot of information, like he mentioned before. He went to law school and he looked up LexisNexis, and he has that information. So, but this is at least a step in the right direction, just so you know what your rights are, and so we can exercise these things. So, like you said, when we come and we have these protests, we can say, well, look, I know this is wrong. We need to act upon it. And the one thing I don't know if it says here, okay, it's down under like 45.424. It's like something number, it's like chapter B, article 2 or something of that nature. Excuse me, I'm not a professional. It says the principal, which is you or the person who'd be suing them, was personally aware and have had actual knowledge of the act complained of, had actual knowledge that the act was illegal, contrary to law, or the breach of duty was imposed by law. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to say, because I'm Michael Brown, I can't sue, I have to be Michael Brown in order to sue these people. If you felt distressed or you had actual knowledge of it, you can sue them. So these are just little bits and pieces that I know that I want to pass the mic on, but I wanted to share this, and I was going to still hand these out to other people that came, but I did want to make sure that I explain this, to the people that are here, and just like I said, give you guys something, so you can go forth and, carry it on.
Yeah, I just wanted to, kind of bring up, because obviously knowing your rights is important, but one thing I think people don't realize, police officers are like regular people, and you mentioned I went to law school. I went to school 19 years. I had a law degree. I had to pass. I had to do all these things. I had to pass the bar. All these things for them to say the law. Police officers go to police academy for a few weeks to enforce the same laws that I have to go to school for years and years to be able to understand and interpret. So I'm only saying that so you understand that they probably are as ignorant of the law as you are. So a lot of times, it's one thing to say what the law is. You can and can't do this, and this is the point. This is the bigger point. It's something else when you're standing there, in face to face with this officer, and that's the reality. The paper versus the reality. So there's certain things you have to, knowing your rights is one thing, but you have to unfortunately present, and I used to teach these classes when I was in law school, you have to unfortunately present yourself in a certain way and have a certain demeanor in the very beginning, just so you don't have these, whether it's race or otherwise, because these cops, they don't really know the law. I'm sure there's something, but yeah, they don't know any more than you do. So to say, well, you can't do this, or you can't do, I'm going by the book, I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to do. And you don't want that to turn into unfortunate situations like this. So all I'm saying is, your rights is one thing, but when you're out there in the streets, reality is something completely different. So, running around there screaming about my rights, when you got your handcuffs and they got your face down on the ground, it's not going to do you any good. It might help you later if you don't end up dead, but I'm just saying, like, know your rights, but be smart about how you deal with the police. You know what I'm saying? And that's the unfortunate reality. They kind of is open season out here, unfortunately.
Can you kind of expand on what you mean by how you act around them, or like how you act around cops?
I mean, from a literal perspective, yeah, as a black man, I'm nervous when I get pulled over, even when it's black police. So yeah, obviously have a certain tone of voice. And they'll tell you this, but the reality is, don't be making any sudden movements and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it seems, like it makes sense, but it really, because if you're really not guilty of anything, you just might be, they shot a lady the other day because, she's panicked, she reached for a phone, they shoot her. So, you have to, understand these people, police, they authorities, but they have weapons and they scared of you, probably as you scared of them. So, yeah, do what they tell you to do, most importantly, first of all. But yeah, don't Don't, they might be wrong. Don't be screaming at the police. You're giving them a reason to snatch you out of the car. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If really sit there. If they pull you over, sit there and wait for them to tell you what to do. They gonna roll down your window. What do you need? Okay, let me see it. Don't reach for nothing. Just let them approach. So it's simple things like that, and not even just in the vehicle, but like a lot of times now it's stop and frisk. New York had that big problem when they just approaching you on the street. It's really, yeah, unfortunately we have to be nice to them. Okay, cuss them out when they walk away if they happen to let you go, but like it or not, we're held to a higher level of accountability, and it's not one that we chose or asked for. But for me, it's more about whether you want to live versus you want to prove something. I'm a hothead. I went to law school because I think right is right and you can do it. That's one thing. But like I've learned, like if you want to live, you live to fight another day. You know what I'm saying?
I could have used you last year. I want to reiterate what he said because I felt profiled because, I was pulled over last year because I had recently purchased my car, a used Ford Taurus, and this was paid for by my money, that income tax, and my mother and my grandmother. And I just recently purchased a car, and I just got off of work, still in work uniform, just going to a friend's house, and I'm just seeing these lights, and I'm like, and I thought I was speeding, so I was just like, okay. And like you said, don't reach for anything. So before he approached, I, got the license, insurance, and but I still had the temporary tag. And when you get a new car, so to say, you got that temporary tag, and you have until this date to get it. And then when he approached, and I'm just ready for, okay, maybe I was speeding, and he was like, you have a temporary tag. And I was confused because there's a date on there, and we were nowhere near the date. And I felt violated, and I'm like, profiled. I'm like, okay, I get it, I'm black, but black people can't own new cars, whatever. So I showed him, but like you said, be nice. Although in my head, because I have attitude and I'm very sarcastic, and I would, if he was just a regular person, I would have, let him have a piece of my mind. But since he got that badge, I'm just like, officer, this, that, and the third, da 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 da, and but one thing I really felt violated, I'm like, when I told him that I recently purchased this car, and he was like, oh, did you get it from a dealership or private? I answered the question, although I really want to say it's really none of your business, and exactly. And but like you said, you have to be nice because I didn't get a ticket, and I think he felt like a fool, and he realized he probably wasted his time because he definitely wasted mine because, like I said, I'm in my work uniform, still got the name tag, and he didn't have no purpose. And when I told this to my mother, one thing, what I learned from it, because I was also panicked and nervous and also scared, probably scared for my life. So one thing my mother said, next time find his badge number, because I could have used this paper last year, because I'm like, yeah, I probably would have filed a complaint if I would have known, more of the situation. But like he said, and anybody watching on live stream, yes, be nice. If you have to smile and talk through your teeth like, no, officer, no, 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 no. You really have to do that, because at the end of the day, if you're unarmed, that person has a gun. So just try to be nice. And what one of my friends said, or probably just say nothing, just have the license and the insurance on the windowsill and just not say anything and just be like, and that's an example.
One of the things with you guys saying this stuff, because you're absolutely right, there does come a time when your emotions and other things kick in, and obviously intimidation and stuff sets in. One of the things that I don't really have like a direct answer or a secret karate chop or anything that you can do before the guy gets to you or anything, but the one thing that I can say is that we all have, I know a lot of us work, we have jobs, and we do a lot of stuff, but the one thing is that we all, at the end of the day, have 24 hours in this day, and it really is about how you use that time. And so I'm not telling you not to watch TV, and I'm not telling you not to go out and have fun and do stuff, but if you're on YouTube or anything like that, like you can search this same information. Like instead of spending 2 hours on WorldStar, maybe go and look at the videos that you got to look at, that you really feel like you have to look at, and then spend the other times looking up videos where they're saying, sovereign man stops a police officer, or a police officer tells you what they look out for when people are coming up to certain cops. Like I found out, a lot of little things that they'll say, and they're going to law classes, I'm pretty sure, just as the classes that you probably had to take, and saying, well, this is what I do, or if I see this guy doing this, or if somebody's driving and then they start slowing up and then they start speeding up or they start swerving, that's how I know, and I'm not saying that it's going to cure everything, but at least maybe it'll help you, even when in your mind, when you start to see that or somebody coming, you start to be more aware. Okay, let me not swerve. Okay, let me not jump over in the next lane because he's going to think that I'm trying to jump over in the next lane, and that'll help build it. Of course, you might have to smile through your teeth and do a lot of other things that it's just like, okay, that's kind of like common sense stuff, but a lot of this stuff is not common sense to us. Like, I mean, I didn't learn this stuff in school. Like, just to be like totally real about it, I didn't learn this in school at any level. Like, I don't even remember what they did in history when we were in school, but I'm pretty sure it's not this. So, it's just, I think that we also have to realize, just take those couple hours out of the day and start to educate yourself and see really, what it is that you really need to know, or, what's going to help you have that peace of mind. Because I really think at this point, like you said, there's a lot of young people out here doing certain things that, are just kind of questionable, and it's whatever, but that's because that's what they're seeing, and no one else is saying, yo, why don't we look at this stuff over here? And that's why I kind of asked you the same situation with the whole Florida aspect, because it was like, yeah, I know that things happen, of course, with Trayvon when he got killed, and you guys went and you had a lot of people that came out and stood out for that and protested, but what just happened in Ferguson? They tore that up. Like, they tore it up. Like, they did not care. They tore that QT and everything else down, white and black. Because as soon as I seen a picture, they had this guy, and he was like in a little cart with a big gun, and he was a black guy. There was a white guy walking this way. So there's no way that you can tell me that it was just, one type of person or whatever that was in there. It was everybody, and they tore that mess up. And, it's just the fact that that's what really got all those officers in the National Guard there. Like, it was no time before those tanks started rolling in, and that didn't happen, in Sanford when that happened. So that's just one of those things. That's why I kind of just wanted to know if there was, if you noticed some type of difference, because it just seems like it hasn't let up. And, of course, has anybody, I know you said you watch CNN, but what other news outlets is anybody watching for this? Al Jazeera, YouTube. Anything else? What other platforms? What newspaper? Facebook? Yeah? Social media, so like Twitter, Instagram, because that's where I found a lot of stuff. I write for Rolling Out, and I had a gallery, and I got to do galleries, so instead of me doing a lot of celebrity galleries, I was trying to do the Ferguson galleries and, get those going and making sure people can actually see what was going on. And some people kind of like tried to call, of course, people with no names or faces, tried to call me out on it and say that there was a certain, I guess I was taking a certain stance on it. But at the same time, I'm like, look, you can look at my words. Look, you can say whatever you want about the words that I say, but the pictures that I put up there are all real. Like, I didn't make any of that stuff up. These are things that any of us could have easily seen on Twitter, or like you said, Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. But you mentioned Al Jazeera. Is there any difference that you've seen in their media about this whole Ferguson thing versus what we're talking about?
They really told the same thing, but the only thing different about Al Jazeera, they don't have really I guess you could say like a U.S. standpoint, where I think a lot of our media is run by politics. So theirs is more on just an on-site of how they're looking at the views because they talk about news when it goes around the world. So at the same time, they'll talk about Mike Brown, they'll be talking about Gaza, they'll be talking about ISIS and everything else too. But the thing that I noticed is that they also took the opinions of like other nations that was actually seeing the same situation and how we make ourselves look. They was noticing that we actually still have the same problems that we thought we resolved 70 years ago. So I mean, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Like any media, I don't think any media really gives like a logical solution to any situation. It's more of just people's opinions of how they think the situation occurred and what's going on with it and how people feel about the situation happening. So Al Jazeera still talks about that, but it more gave a viewpoint of how the world was looking at the United States rather than I think our media tries to take sides on how it looks and what happened and trying to get full facts rather than what's really going on of how people feel about it.
I know you can't speak for all media and all black media or anything like that, but how do you feel like the urban media or black media outlets covered just Ferguson and Mike Brown in general?
Me? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just tell from my own personal standpoint, not even from a media standpoint. But the thing is that I'll be honest with myself. Like the Mike Brown situation didn't have a huge effect on me, and if people ask the reason why, is because I know people now who is Mike Brown, who is black, who is white, and I also know people who is black who is in the process of being the cop personally, because we have a lot of situations that happen on in our own communities where people is getting shot down and gunned down for nothing, is being unarmed, and we're not taking the precautions of trying to or finding a solution for our situations that's happening. But once it deals with a different race or it deals with the police, that's when we want to start feeling like we need to riot or we actually need to protest a situation where you can't ask for somebody else to start treating you better than what you treat yourself. And if the community and other people around you see that you treat yourself this way, then they're going to treat you only how they think you should be treated. So when it came to the Mike Brown situation, I looked at it and it was a sad case of looking at a child actually being shot or gunned down for a matter that could have been, I guess you could say, looked at differently from both sides of if the cop was in the right or if Mike Brown was really trying to attack him. But in the long standpoint, when you look at it, the cop shouldn't have shot him. If he didn't have any weapons on him, he wasn't trying to shoot back at him. There was plenty of ways that it could have been resolved, but I feel like for us to try to take a stand, we can't just feel like that's the only situation that we need to go fight for now or need to go handle, and that's going to be resolved. But we can still call each other niggas on the streets. We can still shoot each other on the streets and then feel as if nobody's going to think you can't do the same.
Yeah, no. I was bringing it to you.
The reason why I came out today was because I was on Facebook about 2 days ago and going through my timeline. I was sitting in Starbucks and I couldn't really listen because I didn't, cut the volume up because I didn't have my headphones on. And I was watching, and one of my friends that was on there, it was a young white lady, and she was filming this old man that was just like walking. It looked like they was at a grocery store or something. And I don't know if anyone else saw it, but the old man was walking with a cane. He looked like he was like 80 years old. And they just slammed the dude down, like slammed him so hard. Like, I don't know what the police said to him, but he spoke to him. Then he just walked up to him and just slammed down the man. The man's laying down there. Police start kind of surrounding the old man. And the old man is like bleeding out. But what I wanted to say was that on Facebook, normally you could share stuff like that, you know what I mean? But they stopped the sharing, and I went back to the original person that put it up, and their page was non-existent. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what provoked that police officer to do that. There was no reason for him to have to do that. I mean, because this dude was frail, you know what I mean? And ever since the Django movie came out, I was just curious. I was like, this it was like real heavy politics about um Obama, right? And they were saying how people don't really like him and stuff like that. And then that movie came out, and I was like, man, are they trying to like provoke some kind of race war and stuff like that? And then like several months later, it was 12 years a slave, and I'm like, I don't quite understand what's going on right now. So I don't know if it's like, are they doing this so they can, put in their military tactics and stuff like that. So I just wanted to say that because right now I'm like emotional. My
One thing we gotta look at is the fact that America's economy is fucked up, and we know that the world economy, if America economy drops, it's gonna mess up everybody else's economy. And what they want to do is have a one union money currency thing, and the only way to do that is to kill the dollar bill. And the best way to kill the dollar bill is for a war to happen here in America. They know that would destroy the economy so that they can go into that one union with everybody else. But they don't want you to know that. They trying to keep that on the hush. And that's why they coming out with these movies all about race. If you look at when the Ferguson thing was going on, CNN stopped showing the Ferguson thing and started showing a special on the 60s, talking about the riots and stuff that was going on in the 60s. That ain't no coincidence. They know what they doing.
I guess a couple things. I don't want to get long-winded on that, but yes, you're absolutely right with that. Oh God, there's a couple things. So yes, the money thing is a definite. One thing, I don't know if anyone ever watches Alex Jones in here. Okay, he can get a little hype on people, a lot, but a lot of the stuff that he's talking about are things that are going on, and like he is like on it all day. He's looking at the government. Like we look at hip hop and celebrities and all this and new music and stuff. He's like that on Obama and everybody else. Like, oh, they had a meeting in Virginia. What's they having a meeting in Virginia about? They had this and that. Da, 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 da. And one of the things that he actually released this video, and I know I put it on Rolling Out, and this was before, it was like 2 weeks, like literally, I don't even think it was 2 weeks before the Ferguson thing, and they were showing how they were training how to capture black people, like literally, like they had, the kids, the girls that were kind of like ghetto and moving and everything else, and they were like, they were showing tactics on like, how grabbing these people, and it was like in one of their commercials, like, and it's actually on it's a training camp that they have for the military. So yes, they are, but at the same time, yes, it has everything to do with money and all these other plans that they have going on. And, of course, that's when we start to tread the line of conspiracy and right. So, but, there are a lot of, little things that definitely do have to go on with them being the whole international situation. In one of the articles that I read, and I want to say it might have been Huffington Post, I'm not sure, but basically the fact that they keep saying, okay, the U.S. can't handle it, they're out of control, they can't handle their situation, we're too much for them, blah, blah, blah. It's allowing the UN to step in the situation. As much as everyone wants to be like, ha ha, you got in trouble, Obama, it's like, no, ha ha, y'all are all in trouble, because now they're going to tell them to step over to the side, and they'll handle the situation for them as they see fit. Does anybody know anybody who's in charge of the UN or on top of the UN or their background? Okay, I don't either. So, I mean, but seriously though, like if we don't know these people, and then I'm sure if we start to do the research behind, if we can do any research on who these people are, I'm pretty sure they're not former Panthers and people that are literally looking out for our best interests. Chances are they're probably nowhere near this country. Whatever you want to call it, continent, anything. They are over there in Sweden and the Netherlands and doing what they do. So, I think you're absolutely right on that. Anybody else have any? Yeah.
Hi, everybody doing? I'm Marshall from Dream Chasers. I just wanted to touch based on that currency because you definitely hit a big spot on that. If you do research, a lot of other countries are actually practicing trading their own currency because the dollar is weak, and just like you said, a war could basically knock the dollar right off, and the dollar is what's keeping us, afloat and not becoming a third world country. But they are actually looking at different currencies. We owe China so much money. They basically own us. They're looking at gold. That's why you see a lot of this. We buy gold, then also silver. So you definitely do want to look at the research of that, because the dollar is very low. I used to do foreign currency trading, and the dollar is it was a little weak then, but it's really weak now.
Yeah, my name is Darnell Matthews. I'm a part of Dream Chasers as well. And excuse me, I'm a little tired. I've been doing a lot of research on hip hop, and one thing that I noticed is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? For one, issues like this will really spark, you know what I'm saying, artists, you know what I'm saying, and really people who have a voice. It will really spark them to say something. You know what I'm saying? And for one, I want to give it back to you know what I'm saying, Renee and Fort Knox for having a vehicle, you know what I'm saying, to share this knowledge with people, because a lot of people don't know what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? This is something that's serious, and for me, it touches my heart to see, you know what I'm saying, a young guy gets, and they did the autopsy and stuff like that. They say he had his hands up. You know what I mean? So, that's something that's serious. But two, one thing that I wanted to say is that, we have K100, you know what I'm saying, an intern from K100 here, as well as whycauseIcan.com. You know what I mean? And these vehicles, same thing with the artists, man. You have a voice. You know what I mean? You can be speaking about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? To the, when you passing out your demos, you know what I mean, promoting it, yourself. We have to, you know what I'm saying, educate each other, because it's going to be a voice of us that's speaking to each other, saying, hey, look, this is what happened. You know what I'm saying? You got to check this out. You got to check it out. You know what I mean? Or you're going to have somebody else telling you another perspective. You know what I mean? So, one thing I want to say is, just to encourage, you know what I'm saying, the artists out there, who have a voice. It doesn't even have to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? Somebody either in media or whatever, to really, you know what I mean, for one, educate yourself. That way you can educate those people who have their ear open and their eye open to what you're doing. So, I want to go ahead and give it back to Renee, but I do wanted to ask a question, though. Just, for the people out there as well as myself, I don't know if anybody in the room exactly knows what exactly happened. You know what I mean? From what I understand and what I see is that, a young, black kid, what I'm saying, he was walking in his neighborhood, and I guess the police just, shot him, but he had his hands up. I don't know if anybody can elaborate that and explain more details on where he was coming from or what happened, what kind of altercation that really happened. So does anybody know? I'm talking about the actual issue. Yeah, mhm. Uh-huh.
Here, let me, my bad. No, you're fine. You're fine.
It looked like one of the well, both of the police officers, they had their guns drawn and they had the guns at him, and he kept walking, So I saw him kind of walking towards. At no point was he a threat though. And then kind of like the video cut off, but it was like right just before they shot him. And I was watching. This was on the news, and I saw this online. I think it was like Yahoo News or something like that or whatever. But yeah, it wasn't like he was running or he didn't get into a tussle with the police officer or anything like that. He was just probably about this far away, about as far away from, where they are right there. There's two police officers there, and here he is, and he's just kind of talking to him. He's not like yelling like that. He's just kind of like saying blase blah blase blah. I didn't really see his hands go up or whatever, but like I said, right before they shot him, the camera cut off. So.
And see what I think the problem, and it's funny that here's a couple things that you said. And the funny thing that you say about that last statement is the fact that you won't know who saw what unless you actually went down that street in Ferguson and talked to somebody or somebody else did. Because here's the thing, just like as you said with the whole Yahoo News and all of a sudden, yeah, you seen him walk up and then it cut off. What happened between that time? And even the same, there's a lot of different stories that go with him reaching into the car. You have people, and see, this is my thing. I even seen a young black woman. She was on the news. She said what she saw happen, but she wasn't there before that. So she saw him when he was at the car, and then he ran away from the car, and that was it. And then a couple people are like, well, there was a news or footage from we don't even know where or when exactly because it came out days later that he robbed a grocery store and then he was coming from there. And, so I feel like there's all these different sides and stories. And even with the news, like I always think about this in the news this way because I've seen just in real life and also I watched the show The Newsroom and stuff. And, for anybody who doesn't know anything about the news, watch The Newsroom. And one of the things that they would do and most people do is that you brief the person before they're going to get on the news or on TV, so you know exactly what direction they're coming from, what point they're trying to make, and if you ever if you go from that, you are going to finish that statement up. Your time is over on the news, and you are never coming back. I hate. I'm going to bring him up again. Alex Jones, happened with him when they were talking about. I want to say it was the Boston shooter, the Boston Marathon. They invited him up to Piers Morgan, and he went and he started talking about the whole situation. He just talked about just his opinion on it, and just about the fact that, protecting our Second Amendment and things of that nature. And I think the minute that, Piers tried to kind of come at him sideways and say something, and he went in. And in his typical Alex Jones fashion, he went in, and it was just like, what? And I think that's how everybody was. And he was supposed to do a second day. He was supposed to do another interview. They said after that commercial break, he was gone. He had to get out right then and there. He said they followed him for blocks to make, like, I don't know what that meant, but he said they followed him literally for blocks after he left that news station. So on that note, I'm not quite sure, but I know you had something to say.
Yeah, with the robbery thing, like right here in Oakland City, when I stayed in Oakland City, and I've seen this at other hood gas stations and hood convenience stores. We go in the store to get some cigarillos, and you go in the same store every day. They see your face. They know your ID. How many times have y'all gone in there and y'all didn't have your ID, and the Arab dude at the window won't give you your stuff? And if you look at the video from when he was in the store, it looked like he was taunting the dude. Like, you're not going to take my money, I'm going to take him. And he passed the box to his homeboy, and his homeboy put him back up there. For real, we don't know if he left his money up there. Because the whole time we see a side angle and we see a back angle. But they want to say we robbed him for a 99-cent cigar.
I'm gonna be real with you. You need to go to Google, YouTube, look it up. Seriously.
I know this is an open forum and we want everybody to express their opinion, so this is just mine. Like, I feel like when we focus on distractions like what happened at the convenience store before he got shot, it kind of validates the point they're trying to make. That what happened at the store had nothing to do with why he got shot. The police have confirmed that. They have said that there was a person in the store who reported it, but they weren't following up on that report when the police officer encountered Mike Brown. So this is not me cutting you short, but I'm just saying I don't want to give any energy or any life to that, because you're making it valid, like to essentially comparing or making an excuse that he got shot because he robbed the store, and that's not the narrative at all. So, like, let's not focus on the distractions. Let's get the facts straight about what happened, about why he got shot. But right, that stuff is important. But the excuses that they're throwing at, don't feed into that. I'm just saying, we don't even have to entertain and discuss, figure out what happened at the store. It has nothing to do with why he got shot.
Boom. Um, so the second thought, thank you for, that was all quick and everything. But the second thing that you did, or the first thing that you mentioned was about the hip hop community and about artists. And I know how you said while you're giving your mixtape, you should kind of talk about this stuff. My thing is, when you did say that, I just think of, what if somebody came up to you, right? And they're like, yo, man, they're trying to talk all deep about the Ferguson stuff and Mike Brown, whatever. And they hand you this CD. And I don't even like really have to go in and describe the CD or whatever to you, but you already know from looking at the cover that he is not talking about anything worth even like that has nothing to do with Ferguson and Mike Brown. So I think what which kind of leads me to, I guess, the next question of is did you guys see a lot of artists, I guess, rallying behind the Mike Brown thing? I know that, of course, you've seen okay. Okay, but even with Nelly, does anybody, I mean, okay, even with him and I guess other people, because I know Nelly didn't jump on that very quickly. He waited till the autopsy report came back on Monday, and I think that's when a lot of other people went. But I will say, because I'm going to throw everything out that I saw before I hand off the mic. Killer Mike and David Banner were on CNN, as well as Talib Kweli, who eventually, of course, they twisted that whole thing around and just made it about him fighting Don Lemon, but whatever. They were on CNN. I know Killer Mike was also on the Breakfast Club today. Who? J. Cole was definitely in the street. He actually also has a video, a little snippet where you can actually see that as well. Keke Palmer, etc. Okay, so I don't really want to go into like just all the celebrities that were flown down there, because I'm not going to take this away from anybody, because I do want to say that even me working behind the scenes and working with people, I also sent quite a few texts out to some managers and people and etc. and told them that their people also need to be in Ferguson or giving out their etceteras and whatever. So like I said, I'm not questioning their hearts or anything, but I do know that there is a benefit from a promotional standpoint, because he was on a tour. Also, helping your community. But I just wanted to get like even the overall, because I feel like maybe like literally out of indie artists, I seen like 2 people maybe do a song sort of about the situation. And I know that was like, I'm sure you guys seen Sorry to Kids Malcolm X song, and I think there were a couple other people, but I mean, I feel like this was the one time, like this is the moment, like you said, if you're going to talk about something or speak about something, like are you satisfied with that? Did you look for the artist to say something? Like do you not care about that? Like, do you guys think that the artist should have more of a say in what's going on?
Well, like one of them said, yeah, they have a platform, but at the same time, if you can't make an adult do what they don't want to do. So that's why I'm thankful, even though it's just 2, because we know David Banner is going to speak on it. We know Killer Mike is going to speak on it. So would it be great to have more? Yeah, but like I said, if it's not gonna come from your heart, then don't do it. And with Nelly, I heard that he was like out of the country at the time, so news came to him like a little delay. But with that Chris Brown celebrity football, he did say, if anybody knows what my city is going through, it is LA. And they did the hands up, and you saw Chris Brown, you saw Lil Mama, and you saw that. So he may have not done what he could, but at least he did spread the word, and I believe it came from his heart, because at the end of the day, the person that I was thinking of that should do it was Nelly, because it's like, this is your home state. Killer Mike, obviously from here, David Banner from Mississippi, they speaking on it as Black Men of America, but Nelly definitely should, because it's like, this is your city, and if you're going to rep St. Louis, this, that, and the third, you should definitely be the #1 spokesperson. But at the end of the day, he did, at least try something, so.
Let me excuse me. Let me ask a question real quick, and this may be branching off of what you were getting at just now. How many artists do we have in the building? Hands up. 1, 2, 3. Yo, four. All right, five, six. Yeah, yeah, six, yeah, yeah. All right, no doubt. Now, have any of y'all done music about these situations that have recently transpired? Okay, so we got one. No doubt. Now we're gonna let you speak about it through this here, so we can clearly hear that. That could be recorded as well. Do y'all feel compelled to do music on that? That's my question. There was a time when situations came up, and there was an immediate response from certain key members in the music community and your community abroad. I'm just asking, and with hopes that that's still the situation, that's still the concern, that's still the love for our people, and we still want to express that, especially through the voices who get on this mic and speak to the masses. So those who, I know you about to speak, brother, in a moment, but those of you who haven't created music about this situation, but yet say that you feel compelled to, please elaborate on that and express that so that we can understand where you're at and why it hasn't been done thus far.
Yeah, I was actually sitting here and I was like, man, we got this paper and it's got the laws. You know, as indie artists, we have we go about it doing the grassroots approach. So we can say whatever we want, but like mainstream artists, their loyalty is kind of attached to they pockets. You know what I'm saying? So certain things they can't say because the powers that be is going to be like, yo, we going to take your money, bruh, or we going to lock you up. Every day, people are getting locked up all the time. We don't know what really happened or whatever. But as indie artists, when we can get up and we got the platforms, we got the talent and everything, we can get together, we can rally together, we can go and do hip hop shows and actually talk about issues and stuff like this. And to me, like while we sitting here talking, and I was saying with the laws, why don't we come up with like a CD? We could all put something together. You know what I'm saying? Like artists could all build and drop verses that talk about this. You know what I'm saying? So that way, when kids hear it, it's repetitive. It's in their ear. You know what I'm saying? It's not corny. You know what I'm saying? This is like something that's going to affect them. You know what I mean? The youth. You know what I mean? So yeah, like self-destruct, stuff that happened like back in the 80s, early 90s before they start switching it to something else. You know what I mean? Like when it was like real hip hop and it was talking about the oppression and stuff like that. So I'm open to doing a CD, you know what I mean, and working with other artists that's going to um teach people the laws, you know what I'm saying, in a unique way.
I have a question. I have a question. Do you think like the current music culture or topics within current hip hop had any influence or could influence situations like this? And like moving forward, should music change to help prevent if it did have an influence? Does that make sense? Does current music culture or music topics influence in events like this or things like this happening? And moving forward, how can, I guess, music culture and topics change our outlook on stuff like this?
Terry? Yeah, we got it. We got a short little. Let me see. It's not that short.
Peace, every. I don't think this is working. Well, peace, everybody. My name is Tariq. It doesn't work. Oh, it's. Oh, okay. All right. Peace, everybody. My name is Tariq, aka Big Ty. Um, is the mic? The mic doesn't.
No, it's not.
No doubt. Check, check. All right, here we go. All right. Once again, my name is Tariq, aka Big Ty. I wanted to actually ask you a question because you stated that commercial artists, if they speak truth, there's a fear of them. You said going to jail or losing money, but I'm curious to what makes you think about that because historically, there's artists who have stood on their beliefs and they're still in the game, such as Ice-T, Public Enemy. So, I'm saying that because I think there's something out there that leads artists to believe, hey, if I do speak my truth, not to say that it's easy, but I'm talking about people who still have careers in entertainment who have spoken truth. So I'm saying don't fear speaking your truth. And to address the sister here's question, um, I think that the music that we currently make does add on to the current situation because the value of black life, especially black male life, is devalued. So the same people that are police, no matter what race they are, they're listening to the same music that we're making. And when we make music, and if I say fuck a nigga, kill a nigga, it music does affect people's consciousness, point blank. You know, people, and even if you say you can listen to it, you gotta then resist the thoughts that are planted into your to your consciousness. So and the other thing I want to mention is that there was a time when we, like Knox was talking about artists who made music based on what happened, but we have to get out of being reactionary. And we, it was a time when even Run DMC had one song on the album that was the message song. You know what I'm saying? And they said, okay, I'm gonna make a message song. That we're not a message group, but whatever concept or whatever it is that we hold true, we're gonna make that one song and speak whatever our truths are. And I want to challenge the artist to not wait for something to happen to make a song, but speak whatever your truth is. You know what I'm saying?
And, and what I was gonna add to that too is the difference today. Like in the '60s, the thing was everybody was in the same situation, and even when you went home, the problems that you saw on the news, you went back home and saw the same problems. So even when you went to sleep, you was dealing with the same situations. And it seems today that classism has been, or people being in different classes and still being the same race, has separated everybody to look at things differently. So where something is, I guess you could say, affecting another region, if it's the hood or suburbs, whatever, is people not seeing the same vision. So when they look at it, it's somebody else's problem rather than our problem that we need to handle itself as well. So when they look at like the things that they go through, they only see it from their perspective. But when they go home, they're living a whole totally different life and not really thinking about what the whole focus needs to be of trying to build something more. So I think that's the reason why, like back in the day where you did have the artists that did make music like that, they all felt the same situation because they was going home and dealing with the same problems, and they was able to stand together and actually make those type of songs together because that was the word or things that they was trying to push through to get everybody's attention. Where today it's everybody trying to live for something else, either luxury or it is some people trying to speak more on the problems that they may see. But today we hear more from the commercial side of things that deal with the luxurious things that you can have in life.
Just to let everyone know, please, if you guys would like to be contacted about the next Hip Hop Town Hall, please write your information on the directory. We are also live streaming with DI Radiocast. Hey guys, you guys are still at the Hip Hop Town Hall at the Omen Agency, 299 Peter Street in Atlanta. If you guys do want to check this out, go back to it, maybe make a snippet of yourself saying some stuff, feel free to go and check it out. It'll also be on YouTube.
I want to address when you asked earlier about the amount of artists, especially independent artists that made music. with my platform, I can attest that within that first week or so, it was a whole bunch of independent artists. Now, granted, if you're not listening to stations that play that kind of music, if you ride around listening to 107 and 9 all day, you won't hear I'm K100 radio for those who don't know. You know what I'm saying? That music was made. Make no mistake about it. The underground and independent artists responded in droves. Okay? I got at least 50 Mike literally name of the titles of the song, Mike Brown, Ferguson, whatever, the first week. All right. So if we're talking about are the artists taking this serious? Are they responding? Are they living in the moment? Yes, the independent artists are. It was a whole bunch of them. I played a whole bunch of them. You know what I mean? I know you pointed out Sorry, but Sorry is already getting to that upper echelon where everybody knows him. There's a lot of artists who you've never heard of from all around the country. I got 10 Ferguson songs from rappers from St. Louis in my email. You know what I mean? So it's not that artists didn't respond. That's the first thing. So I want to make that perfectly clear. Unless you have a platform like mine where you get hundreds of emails a week, music submissions, then you don't know that. You can't possibly know it because you're just a consumer or whatever, or maybe your platform, whatever it is you do, you don't get people sending you music. This is what I do. So I'm telling you, the underground responded. So if anybody thinks that didn't happen, you're mistaken. Problem is you're listening to the wrong radio stations who are not going to play that. And that's your problem. That's a you problem. It's not a hip-hop problem. That's a you problem. Change your station, first of all. That's the first thing I want to make sure that we got clear. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. Secondly, I'd like to address what he said about the artist, the mainstream artist, the bigger artist being scared, quote unquote, to respond. See, to me, I'm not buying that as an excuse at all. Like you can't tell me that at all as an artist that's a reason for you not to speak on anything, because at that point I'm just gonna call you a fake ass rapper. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not really true, because you can't sit on one note in one hand and tell me that you're the realest out. You know what I'm saying? But if that's how you really feel, you worry about your check, and that's why you're not gonna say it. You can't have it both ways. Either you're gonna be really real or you're gonna be fake and just bow down. But there's no two ways about it. It's black and white. If you're gonna stand up and speak and make music that you feel, or you just making music just because you want to get a check. You know what I'm saying? And just say that. Just say that off the top so people know what kind of artists they're dealing with off the top. So I don't take that excuse from any of these big name artists. I also would like to salute, and I think I would like to say, just because we in Atlanta and I just respect him as an artist, I think T.I. had a great song that he did. The T.I. song was so dope. I played that I played a lot of independent music, you know what I'm saying? But T.I. probably had the strongest response musically from a major artist that I heard. And if you haven't heard that record, you really need to check it out. Thank you.
Yo, once again, y'all forgive me. I gotta shout my brother Blizzum out. K100 Radio. It's platforms like that. You too, sister. You know what I'm saying? It's platforms like that y'all need to really tune into, because at the end of the day, those artists, or should I say those underground artists, they come in droves. Yes, they exist, and they speak for the community. But if we're not tuning in, I'm not knocking mainstream radio at all whatsoever. I'm saying there's that audience. When you're in that mood, vibe with it. When you're over here, vibe with this as well. It's a matter of support, because stations like K100 are not getting the support that they should, which is the reason why we've not heard these records. All right? So, yo, at the end of the day, again, K100 Radio, tune in, show your love.
Just in case you guys didn't kind of catch that the way he said that, if you support a platform that supports independent artists, those independent artists end up being those popular artists. And I don't really necessarily want to say, you know, mainstream or whatever that negative connotation is, but they end up being those artists that are on those stations and bringing that message there. Because if it really is all about who pays and or who's popular or what's hot, that's where it starts. All the songs that, you know, end up there that are really like here in Atlanta and everyone's like, how did that happen? It started there.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the question for Knox, and the fact that it's kind of half empty, half full kind of thing, because a lot of people will say, you know, you don't want to look to the rappers as the ones that's leading the community, and I said this when this happened, like, face it, like, old people, grown folks, face it, the rappers are the leaders, they are the voices of the community. But the other side of that is, yeah, like, where are the leaders? If it's not the rappers, if it's not y'all artists, if it's not y'all opening y'all voices, there's no Martin Luther Kings of our generation, there's no Malcolm X's in our generation. It's the rappers, it's the music. So I mean, that's responsibility as much as it's something to take note of and recognition that, number one, okay, if rappers are the voices, be the voice. But number two, we need some other people to start stepping up and being the voice in our community, because we can't look. I mean, I've been here for most of these hip hop town halls, and the artists come out when it's something artist related. It's some of us who are here all the time, and this is not me judging anybody, because what's important to you is important to you. But it's sad, honestly. I'm feeling some type of way, and I'm calling y'all out. I'm disappointed that I don't see some faces of some artists that I would love to see here, because you are the influence. If you were here, more people would be here. So I don't know. I just wanted to point that out.
I agree. And it's not just artists, too. There are other people. But I mean, I think that's just the general basis of us. I think that there are some people that are a few people that are going to be here that are going to be able to make a difference. Like, just there's a few people that do events here. There are a few people that have radio stations. A few people have media outlets. There's a lot of people that want to do all that stuff and act like they can do all that stuff. But just the real point of it is that they can't, they won't, etc. Whatever reason, because if I say something's like, no, because I had another event. But at the end of the day, I think that I am glad, though I am disappointed, like you said, to see that you guys, I'm glad. Like, seriously, give a hand for everybody that's really in here right now, because I can't even act like I'm, like, sad that you guys are here. Like, I'm glad to see certain people and everybody that actually came out. But yes, like you said, there are a lot of people that do come in here for some regular old, just the regular talk. They say their piece, they're cool, they hand out their CDs and they leave, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, there's not going to be that many people that's actually making a difference. It took a young teenage girl to bring everybody down there to the CNN Center to protest. For all we would have thought that it was some other lady. They're probably like, oh, congratulations, John Lewis, y'all did a great job. Oh, my goodness, cousin, congratulations, y'all did a great job. And it's like, it had nothing to do with them. But because they were caught on Instagram and Twitter, everybody's going to say something. But
yeah, and to Knox, to answer your question of music done lately, there's a song that I did last year, and it was like inspired by the Trayvon Martin situation. It's called "Protect Yourself," and when you listen to it, it's your interpretation. Yes, I kind of touch base on like the Trayvon Martin thing, but also if you hear my first verse, I'm just, my personal perspective, and also women. Walking at night, because my father even got me on that female plus night equals not a good situation. So have somebody, or at least have something on you. And also, and being that you gave this, it could be, protect yourself with the law, the knowledge of it. And Miss JC Rocker, SoundCloud, if you want to hear that song. Shameless plug. I have no shame. But yeah, but like you said, recent stuff, and I'm not afraid. If it's in my heart and I got the inspiration and flow, I will definitely write it down and find somebody who can help me put it to life. And like PD said, it's, that fear, you either going to be real or you're going to be fake. So don't be talking about busting your guns and you don't have the balls to say what's going on in the community. So.
Real quick to segue off of my brother's point, and yours as well. Don't be disappointed. Anybody in here, don't be disappointed at all whatsoever, because schedules are schedules, family, like there are honest situations that people have to take care of. This is not the be all end all. So because people are not here, cool. If for the duration it's silence, it's shying away, then yes, there's a problem. That's why I want to ask about the CNN march. What's next? We're right here. What's after this? These are issues to be addressed, because this is an ongoing situation. What happened in New York with Eric Garner, Now, my brother pointed out, it showed after the shooting, after God bless the dead, Mike Brown was laid out. God bless the dead with Eric Garner. They actually showed the murder of the man, choked out on camera. These instances and occurrences are going on and on and on. I like what you said about not being reactionary so much. Now, I mean, these are issues to be addressed, to be spoken upon directly. These are also causes to get behind consistently so that we can make change. It's all about coming together in situations like this and coming up with actual game plans and solutions so that we could do so. I saw you in the back, Ma.
So I just have a question. Back in the day, cops used to pull people over and profile them, let you go, give you a ticket. When did it change for cops to just gun us down? Like, when did that whole, it just seems like everything just shifted and everything's so violent now, you know, and kids are just being shot for no, people are being shot, not just kids. New York, the guy got choked out for no reason. Whatever happened to those cops? Nothing. So when did it just transition and change to this violence with cops versus black folks? I just think that it's more frequent too, and violent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kendra. Just to kind of reiterate off of what she was saying, I was actually just talking to my friend. She's Middle Eastern. She also is a paralegal. So, of course, she studies the law. She's also going to be a police officer, but she stopped doing it because police officers are being taught to target us. Whether you're African American, whether you're Hispanic, they have training to have people to profile us. That's the way they're being taught, just to be honest with you.
I just want to make sure and make sure we say it so it can be heard over the webcast. It's literally been that way. The only difference now is social media. Social media has changed. See, now CNN has real, they have control, and Fox News and all these other news outlets, they have a bigger, larger platform, which is cable TV. But make no mistake about it, social media, Twitter, all Facebook, this is the difference between 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. All of this stuff has been happening. It goes on all the time. Is that now when it happens, it can literally go viral between me and you, and I don't need a buffer zone. All I need is the internet. That's the only difference now in the 60s is that we have social media and that we can share our story and we don't need to get interviewed by CNN. This is not new. Anybody who thinks this is new, it's just not. If you just really research it and go look it up and just get Google, use the internet for what it is. Google how many times police have shot and killed unarmed black men in the last 5 years. See, the worst thing about it is not the worst thing. One of the worst things is every case doesn't get sensationalized. Every case doesn't draw protest because, like you said, if we talking just gruesomeness, there's debate about what Mike Brown did that day. There is no debate about what Eric Garner did. He just laid there and got choked out, and that was on video. If we should have protested and rallied behind any cause, it would have been that one because there is nothing to talk about. We have the video. See, we ain't talking about, we don't have no video from a store. We don't have what she said. We have the video, and we didn't even rally around that one. Now maybe this particular incident with Mike Brown popped off because it was already brewing from that situation in New York, and that just made it just took it to another level. But make no mistake about it, that was a far worse crime, I think, because we have the video. I don't want to say worse, but it's just irrefutable with that one. That's the one that you don't have to sit and debate about, and you don't have to talk to people about what happened at the Quick Trip, or you don't have to talk about all that. We got the video. We saw you choked them to death, period. And so this has already been going on, and it's been happening. It's going to keep happening probably in the foreseeable future. It is what it is. But make no mistake about it. The only difference is now we have social media and internet, and so everybody gets it real time when people are protesting in the streets. You know what? I didn't watch CNN to get my coverage. You know what I watched when it was all popping off? I got two homeboys that live down in St. Louis, and they was out there with their cell phones doing a live stream cast from their cell phone right there. That's what I wouldn't watch the CNN. CNN gonna show me what they want to see. I'm watching dudes who are literally sitting down there getting gas themselves, filming themselves, coughing. That's what I'm watching on my news feed. That, and you didn't have that 20 years ago, but the same thing was happening 20 years ago.
Quick question before I pass this on. One, I think that the reason why it didn't happen in New York, and I don't know, but I would think is that NYPD and LAPD have built up a reputation for themselves, whereas Ferguson, we ain't know about them. But I bet you that town, they got hyped because they knew that they were like, look, like we about to do something. And New York they've already built up that reputation. But to go on what you were saying, can you tell us a little bit about what was going on in Ferguson, or some things that your homeboys told you that wasn't being said?
And that next week I did a casting. I had 5 people call in from St. Louis on my broadcast, and they were telling me like exactly what was going on. But my homeboy, he's an artist. He did a song. His name is Firestar. Shout out to Firestar Red. He did a song. I played a song that he did called Hands Up. And he was actually, that's the person who I followed the close, because he's just very savvy with his cell phone. He's one of those people that make it look like, I don't know, he had a camera crew out there with him. But I was watching his real time. And the one thing that I noticed about the stuff that he was showing, he was going around getting like drops and interviews from people that actually live there. And the number one thing that stood out to me that you don't see on mainstream media is how they were trying to say that, oh, everybody should go home, and it's just a certain few that's starting the trouble or whatever. He's right, and he exposed the fact personally, because he went up to a couple of the guys that he saw that he's from that area, and he was like, a lot of the people that was doing a lot of the damages and stuff, that was looting and stuff, they really didn't live in that area. They came from the city. That's a suburb, if you don't know. It's like if something pop off in Alpharetta, you feel me? But everybody from Zone 6 is over there tearing up shit. Oh, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? But that's literally what was going on. You feel me? So his whole angle and the main thing that I got from his, which was great coverage and great photos. He obviously has one of these galaxies. His photos look great. His was listen and understand that the ignorant stuff that's really going on, it ain't even people that live in this area per se, because this is a suburb. You had cats driving from the city coming down there kicking up dust. And that was that, and people mentioned that, but I think a lot of people just grouped them all together. They were like, it's just they're not protesting peacefully, they're looting and blah blah. Yes, it was looting going on. Yes, that's true, but it wasn't even the people who live in the area where dude got killed. It was people that can't. But it got so big. What can you do? You can't distinguish, But he was giving interviews from people, and some of the local people, some of the older people, like moms and pops, 50 years old. He interviewed this one lady, and she was like, she's not mad per se about some of the violence that's going on, because she was like, I'm from the generation where we had to get a little gangster about it. She was kind of hood, but it was funny. And she was saying, I'm from the era where we had to get a little gangster with it, in order to make some stuff change. But she was like, I don't know none of these people. I don't know none of these faces. And so I think I took away from his coverage, like, look, once something snowballs into something that huge, you can't just start saying that what's going down represents that community, because think about it, it ain't even that many black people in that area right there. People came from everywhere. There's not that many black people that live in that area where it actually happened at. Those are all people from surrounding areas. And so it got branded like, oh, black people, whatever, they just gonna loot. They just using it as, it's not even that. It's thugs and criminals everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you had real criminals who that's what they do. But it's black criminals, it's white criminals, it's criminals from every race. Yes, they're opportunists. Criminals break into stuff when they have a chance. They don't break in during business hours. You feel what I'm saying? Duh. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what his footage really exposed. Like, yo, yeah, it's people cutting up out here, but it's not even the people that live here like that. It's people that came here because that's what they do. They criminals. They steal stuff, and they got a chance to steal something and get away with it. And I think that's what he really was trying to expose, because he was really upset about how people were saying, he was upset about the angle that the media was portraying about the looting, trying to make the looting become the issue and not the killing. You feel me? And that was his main thing that he just kept at. So I think I gained that perspective ground zero from him.
Good evening. I have three ideas for your solution side. Can be funded by donations or Kickstarter. But the first idea is similar to the Stop Snitching campaign with Stop Profiling, and it's just the stop sign and the profiling in the middle, and it puts a lot of awareness on from police officers and others to let folks know that there's a community and a population that's standing in solidarity. Very simple. Stop sign, stop profiling. You see a lot of people wearing it, and it just like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, it shines light to the awareness that this is a problem for many folks. The second idea is a magnetic bumper that goes on the back of your car, a magnet. Very simple idea. It's a police officer with a hand up saying, officer, I'm very familiar with my constitutional rights. So it's just something as you're being pulled over, something that national or locally you just want to keep the same image, the same brand, so officers can already know, and you want the wording to be very respectful, but just to let them know as they're approaching your car that you are familiar with your constitutional rights. And then the last idea is maybe at One Fest or any large events, I suggest starting in Atlanta, having different business cards, color-coded, purple, yellow, based on the county that you live in. And on that business card has your district representative's phone numbers, email addresses. So if you're ever pulled over, harassed, or anything, you have this card in your wallet that you know as soon as you make it home, these are who you call, this is who you call in your area, this is who you email, this is who you write to. And everyone just needs to have that information anyway. So it could be color-coded by county. So you're passing these out, you're asking folks, hey, what county do you live in? Keep this in your wallet if you're ever profiled or anything. This is who you harass. And that lets them know that there are constituents out there who are mobilizing and becoming more aware. Thank you.
Devin.
How y'all doing? Since I work in this industry, and I come from a baby boom generation. Okay. Well, I guess I gotta. Well, why don't we do this? Just catch me on this side. Since I'm from a baby boom generation, and I get to be a part of both sides, my thing to you artists that are out here, find out who you are first before you start picking topics to jump into and jumping on things. Find out who you are as an artist and make sure that you are defining your voice as an artist first, because a lot of you, in order for you to impact anybody, you got to define your voice first. A lot of times what happens in these type of situations is everybody kind of, whether your intent was to commercialize it or not, you are the problem if you jump in and you start just ratting off and just making records, and you're becoming a part of the problem too, because some of you haven't even established your base yet. Now here you come with the whole commercialization record based on the incident that's going on. Now, if you're doing it and you're tying into an organization or you're tying into a movement that is going in that direction, and you're making your message part of something bigger, it's no different than everybody doing this whole thing with the water, with the ice water, and everybody throwing it, and it came, and then when they did the story on the guy who really, it came from and his purpose behind it, there was a purpose behind it. See what I'm saying? So I'm about people doing something with a purpose, not just getting mad and rallying up and just starting, because things don't happen in that way. The reason why a lot of things don't happen the way it's supposed to, because we don't do things organized. We do things random. You know what I'm saying? Artists in the industry that you want to be the voices for this, a lot of times their management or their people are telling them, be careful. The same thing I'm saying to you guys here today. Don't jump in it and be random. Don't just be a random voice. Make sure you think this out, because you have to attest for your voice. When you say something, you have to attest for that. Everything, you are accountable for that. Now, we all give, you guys get together and y'all decide today in this room that you're going to be an organized force, and you come up with a cause and you tie it into something that's relevant, and then you organize it, then it makes sense. But if you, but the conversation, and no disrespect to nobody in the room, the conversation gets random if we're not talking about organization, because this is what really should happen. Mobilize the organization, figure out what it does. If a record is part of that mobilization and that message and how you present that message, then let that part, let the message come from a record. Let it come from somebody in this room being isolated as a speaker. Let it come from something that was organized so that it can reach the people it should reach. And then make sure that you're targeting the people you need, the media outlets or whoever you need to target, to make sure that your case is presented the right way, so it don't come across. The whole thing is like, y'all remember when what's his name from the Fugees? Wyclef did his thing, right? Well, because it wasn't organized right, he left himself open for them to attack him by saying he took those contributions and he was doing other things with it, which ultimately hurt him as a president, run for president for that country, for Haiti. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to think about and organize how we thinking about this, like taking money, anything that we're going to do, think about it and organize it so that we can do it the right way. Because there is the power to make a movement happen is in this room. It doesn't need a big artist. It doesn't need somebody. It just needs organization. And that's my real message to everybody in this room.
My name is Julius George. I'm glad he said it because I'm actually a president of an organization called Young Generation Movement. And I really appreciate you guys for having these little events like this where people can get the knowledge that they need, because that's what my organization teaches. We give out knowledge to the kids that don't have the knowledge, don't know how to stay on purpose in life and stuff like that. And my organization is a group of young community activists. We advocate and empower the youth, helping them to become positive models. And our organization, it's been working pretty well because we're a group of young brothers that was really in the community. They grew up in the same blocks and can be on the same blocks and get in these same cracks with these young brothers, so we can better relate to these young brothers. And actually, the organization started when I was in jail because I was incarcerated because two of my friends got into it and it was a big shootout or whatever. And it was like I was stuck in the middle because I just changed my life because I came out of a situation where it really, really meant something to me, because what happened was, like, I lost my best friend in gun violence, like, and I got shot in the head. So it was like I'm coming out that hard situation, and what happened was I ended up getting in this trouble after I done sprayed my life out, and I got into this little random piece of trouble where I got incarcerated. So I'm incarcerated for 4 months, and I'm just like, dang, God, what is my purpose on earth? Like, I've been trying to do good. I always give back and this, that, and the third, and then I seen it because all the young brothers in the jail cell used to always come to me because they was attracted because of my street credibility. So now they used to come to me and I used to tell them, man, you need to pray about it. So I'm preaching to them about this, that, and the third, and I was like, dang, like, this might be my call and my purpose. So I got all the young brothers to come to my cell, and I was like, I want to start a movement. I want to start a positive gang. So, it wasn't no gangs in the dorm at the time for some reason. So everybody, like, we came together and I said, okay, these are the rules and regulations of the gang. First of all, we're going to pray together. We're going to help each other read. We're going to work on our cases. And also, if you don't go to the store, everybody chip in so you can have something in the store. So the thing was, if you fight, you gonna move to another cell, so you won't be in the game no more. So it stopped a whole lot of violence and fighting. And I stayed in them 4 months. I was like, that was my purpose and reason to going through all this, because I actually really wanted to make a difference. Like, if you look in your community and see what's going on, you have to be the person that wants to try to make a difference. So what I did when I got out of jail, I started the organization, but I called it the Young Generation Movement. So when these guys come out of jail, we still moving on, trying to empower each other. And what happened was wonderful positions where I got to work downtown. I get to see how the politicians work. I had to see how the political people move around. I was like, wow, they don't really care about the community. It's all about business. So I was like, okay, now I know the knowledge about politics, but I really want to help my community. And I got a real street movement going on with all these young brothers that really want to transition, but they don't know another way. So I was like, okay, cool. This is what we got to do. We got to vote our brothers in office. So I'm trying to build together a big campaign so when we can put the people in office who we need to make the difference. Because there's people out here that got the education. Black people, we more empowered now. We getting big corporation jobs. And that's where big leadership need to come from, big corporations. So, I reach out to a lot of big corporations. I can put my suit on, but I also can get out in them trenches and march too, you know what I mean? Because this is my whole motto, Young Generation Movement. Japan, you know what I mean? We're trying to stop community violence, stick together, and empower each other to become positive role models and leaders. So, this weekend, that's what we do a lot of community-based events. So, this weekend we having a candlelight visual Saturday for the victims of gun violence. So whoever lost someone to a victim of gun violence, or if you didn't lost a person to a victim of gun violence, just come out and promote whatever you got going on. We need to stick together and just empower each other, and anybody can elevate off coming to my event, passing out some of your situations. That's what it's all about, because if all of us can agree upon the end result, let's try to build the ladder. At Centennial Park at 7 o'clock. So if we all can come together and educate each other, and agree upon the end result of what's going on. If we can agree upon the end result, let's just try to make it loud and make a difference.
Wait a minute, I'm not done with you. I know you're probably definitely hard at work with the Young Generation Movement, but what are some of the things, because I asked the question on Instagram and I kind of said, now what? After the protests, after the riots, after all this stuff, what do we do next? And I had a couple people that kind of said, well, we need to bring the dollar back in the communities. We need to do a couple different things. Were there any special things that you kind of felt, with this situation, whether it was about the case or just us in general, what we need to do as a people or just as the community, the hip-hop community?
Really pretty much just stick together and continue just to come out and support each other. That's what it's all about, supporting each other.
Yeah, he's being really modest. I'm gonna be honest. This guy, seriously, he does so much for the community. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm serious. He just had the opportunity to get a community center that we're going to build up from the ground up that the city gave us. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to be doing for the children, for the individuals that may be homeless or whatever the case may be. Also, this guy feeds families. I mean, he just does so much, and he's being really modest, and I understand that. But this is not just about the Mike Brown situation. He does this all the time. For the past 4 years, this is what he's done. And I mean, if you guys should follow him on Instagram, it's at YG Movement. Definitely stay connected and just figure out what we're going to be doing next, because we are definitely making changes.
And like, oh, you need to say something? Okay. But yeah, just like organization, this brother is, we just have to be organized, because if y'all know the cop Darren Wilson, they raised over 20 grand for him, and I have 5 question marks because 200. Oh, I just saw that number. My bad, PD. Thank you. But anyway, it's like Mike Brown got the riots, but Darren Wilson got the money, and it's kind of like the hell. But like this brother said, make that into a law. Like, officer, I know my rights, so we can like at least raise money for that. We just have to, just think, use our heads, and supporting something like that. So, because that deserves some money, not a cop shooting a kid, and oh, we don't know what happened. Like, no, you shot a kid, stupid. So you don't deserve money. So, yeah, just organization, and that's all. Anybody else?
What's up? Peace, y'all. My name is DJ Knox. I am one of the co-founders of Hip Hop Gives Back. I was listening while I was driving down here, so my ears started burning when y'all said more people need to be here. So I was streaming on DI Radio Cast through my phone. So I heard a lot of what was what was being said. So I just wanted to add on the idea that you had about the business cards. Genius. We're doing a canned food drive at the One Music Fest. We're doing it with Black Celebrity Giving, and I'm gonna make sure that the city of Atlanta and those business cards are made. I'm gonna put my own money up for that because that's just genius. I'm gonna do that, and then we also are working on another panel at A3C, and I know A3C is a lot of surrounding other cities, a lot of people coming here. I think just having that idea there as well will give them the idea to do the same thing. So I want to get your information, and we can talk about that some more. But I think one of the solutions that he started to hit on as well, the young generation movement, was just stay organized, get involved, be consistent and persistent by coming to events like the Hip Hop Town Hall, by supporting their events, so like the YG movement. This has been going on how many months now? Hip Hop Town Hall? 7 months? That's what I'm saying. Just keep on building, keep on having these conversations, because I go out and I have these conversations all the time, but a lot of people don't. I had these conversations with people at work. We talk about it at Apache Cafe. Me and Fort Knox talk about it almost weekly. So it's just about letting people know about the things that are going on. There's another, not just a panel, but there's another organization that's doing something, talking about what are we going to do about Mike Brown tomorrow at Harlow's Pub. Hold on a second, I'm gonna get the information right. But it's tomorrow at 6:30, and it's not just hip hop people; it's people from all different parts of the community. And it starts tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. So if you really want to get involved, it's a panel discussion at Hagar's Palace, 19 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. I'm gonna put it on the Instagram, and I'll send it to y'all as well. But that's another place where we can sit and talk and make some more plans and build further on what we can do. Because buying black is key. Keeping the money in the neighborhoods, that's always been key. That's never changed, but it's more of attention on it now, as it should be. But we got to make sure we keep on doing that. There's another movement where they're doing a blackout on September 8th, or the minorities are not supposed to spend any money at any gas stations, retail outlets for 1 day, so they can understand the power of the black dollar. That's another movement, but there's different things that are going on. All we got to do is be aware and take part in them. If you have your own idea like this brother has, get people behind you and let them see that this is how we can make a change. So, like I said, our organization, Hip Hop Gives Back, we take part as much as we can. We support K100. We try to get out in the community. We do feed the family, things like that. But I'm open to more ideas. We have interns. We're always adding more. But I'm open to more ideas where we could build together. It's not just about us and what we do. I understand that it's about raising awareness and getting more and more people organized so we can help more and more people and help us as a people. Appreciate it.
And I definitely want to make sure that you guys utilize the people that do have these foundations and things. I know I get a lot of people that always want to tell me what I should do and what I'm doing and what I need to do. And if you know me, you know I got a lot of stuff to do. But these people have taken the time to make these organizations and these foundations for them to support. Blizzum has put together his radio show and does this stuff for independent artists just for that. Nikki and other people provide these platforms in DI Radiocast. So, like I said, please make sure you're connecting with these people because I want these people here for that reason. can't come to me with everything. Trust me, I'm not putting on a showcase or any of that stuff, but I will come help, and I definitely will come hand out. I'll be at the One Music Fest. I'll be handing out those contacts, those flyers, and things as well. I wanted to touch on something that you said, and I know that this is kind of what I was going to get to, but I pulled it up. On my Instagram, I asked something, and you co-signed this. This is the reason why I'm asking. Shalom Little, shout out to Shalom Little. Not here though. No, but nothing. That's no shade. There's a lot of discussion on how to non-violently buck the system. In that case, I'm interested in how to strategize, inform, and execute boycotts in order to start the change. The culture and music is a great platform to discover and talk about that. And I feel like he said something else along the lines and basically talking about the money aspect of it and us actually supporting the businesses that are in our community. So even if that means, you know, supporting the people that are in the hip-hop community and have businesses, supporting black business. I know there was a blackout thing. I don't know how successful that was, but there was a blackout Monday, you know, where I guess they were asking people not to spend money at pretty much, like, I feel like any store that you would usually spend money at, it's like, don't spend money there. But I think it sounds, for you to not spend money on Monday means you probably spent money Sunday, Saturday, or Tuesday. So my whole thing is, you know, I think that, and I really would have liked to have a list, but I don't. So I would really like for everyone to help us make a list, whether it's through Instagram and Twitter, and just sending me information about the independent businesses in our communities, the doctors, clothing stores, etc., that we would be able to share this information with, so that way we can start supporting those people, and it won't be an issue of, okay, just on this day we're not going to support them. So that's kind of just what I wanted to throw. Yes.
Hi, my name is Africa Allah. I am actually with the Atlanta Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm on their marketing and communications department. And we have a directory for the city of Atlanta that targets small businesses and African American businesses. You can go to ambcc.us, that's ambcc.us, for information, and we are updating our directory as we speak. So if you have a small business or you have any services that you provide, please log on to ambcc.us to make sure that you're filed in there with that information. The Atlanta Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce, it's the AMBCC. You can go to ambcc.org, but the directory is found on ambcc.us. Also, we recently talked about artists not doing anything, and just as we were talking about that in my stream on both Google Plus and Facebook, Swiss Beats, Game, 2 Chainz, Diddy, Wild, Yo Gotti, Currency Problem, King Pharaoh, and TNG all created a record about Ferguson. And this is now trending. So if you're on social, you can see it in real time as it's happening. So don't say that the independent artists, the mainstream artists aren't doing anything. Again, it goes back to organization time, and like, you can't just wake up in the morning. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm about to be on my New York shit. All right. You can't just wake up in the morning and be like, yo, I'm going to go out there and be like, yeah, bump the system. You have to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, all of this falls short. Nobody gives a damn about what you're saying. You have to have an organized, structured plan of action, which is why I really get frustrated about coming out here. And I do it because I really respect what Fort Knox and Renee are doing. But at the same time, like, we have not walked away with an actionable resolve. Like, since we've been doing this, this is 8 months in. And really and truly, like, yeah, it doesn't matter, because I do this all the time. Like, this is my life. You know what I mean? So streaming this event, streaming something else, it doesn't matter. But if we're not walking away with actionable results, then this is bullshit. And I'm calling it like I see it. So when we walk out of here today, we need to have 3 things that we're going to do. When we come back in here September, the last Wednesday of September, we've done something in our community. So whether that's getting with Hip Hop Gives Back or doing something out in our communities, we need to take action. Stop earbagging. This is bullshit. That's my three.
So where do you suggest that we start?
Did I not just say? Did I not just say? Oh, this do have a short black. All right, it has a short. Oh, I'm sorry. Right now, I got to send a shout out from Houston and LA. They're watching on the live stream. They just wanted to make sure that people knew that they were in the building, and they're really impressed with what we're doing. I'm gonna give you that information. But again, Hip Hop Gives Back has things that they're doing in the community. You guys, again, form a plan of action, come up with a strategy, and figure out how you're going to do. And the thing about a plan of action, okay, so all of you guys, right, you're supposed to be artists, right? When you're marketing your record, you do a 12 to 6 week promotional plan, right? 16 weeks. Back in the days, it was 16 weeks. Now it's like shorter because we got the internet. But the same way, 10 days, what are you doing? Okay. The same way that you put together a plan of action for your marketing and your CDs, put together a plan of action for what you're going to do in your community. Okay, I'm going to do this. When I do this, what happens next? If you don't have a what happens next, then what you're doing is fruitless. So you put out a record. What do you want that record to do after you put out the record? You just want people to hear it? Who gives a fuck if they hear it? What are they going to do after they do it? You know why the ALS challenge worked? Because they created a plan, they created a call to action, right? They created a call to action, and then they gave you a deadline. So this is the call to action. I want you to go out and donate on behalf of ALS. I'm going to pour this water on me. You have 24 hours to execute this duty, or else you need to donate. Right? That's the call of that. That's how it works. So they created a strategic plan on how to get people to participate. Not only did they do that, in addition, what they did was they created a movement. If people feel like they're part of something, they're going to support, even if they don't even know what the fuck they're supporting. They're going to support. How many of you have ALS or know anybody with ALS? Do you know that 90% of the people that suffer from ALS are Caucasian? Sickle Cell Awareness Month is September. How many of you have friends or family members that suffer from sickle cell cancer, diabetes? I don't see y'all pouring no ice on y'all head or donating. They made $50 million off of y'all. Sickle cell, right? Look, I'm talking about the shit that I do. For the past 5 years, I've been supporting sickle cell actively. And over the past 5 years, I could tell you, I don't even think they made 200,000. But it affects more African Americans than any other race. So today, let's sit down. Whether it's about Ferguson, whether it's about our community, let's put together a plan of action and put together a 6 to 12 week plan on how we're going to execute it over the next 3 months. All right? That's all I got to say. Same way y'all do y'all marketing plan for y'all music, do the same thing for your products.
All right, so where do you want to start?
Well, first I want to, I came in late here, so I just looked up over there just to see what's going on, and agree with everything. But on the Stop Profiling campaign, I'm like, how do you make that happen, right? So I was telling Deuce, I was giving an example of white privilege, right? So if I'm walking in the middle of the street in this exact situation, the police officer is going to tell me to get on the sidewalk. He will probably tell me that, but he's not going to make any excuse to arrest me and search me and ask me questions and a million things. So there's a huge difference, right?
and we all know in this room that that's what happens. So, but how do you stop that activity? And that's where things get complicated. But I actually think there are things that can be done. I think if you look at the entire United States, everybody knows that having 53 police officers and only 2 are black in a 70% community, everybody knows that that's wrong. Everyone knows that something has to happen there. All right? I mean, that's clear. Technology on the cop cars, you can have a camera coming out of all 4 sides of the car. You can have technology with a police officer by law. If people take action, that throughout the whole United States, they have to have their microphone on and they have to have their camera on at all times. I mean, those kind of things will stop this. But everybody's got to get organized, like everybody's saying, to get these laws in place. And that's going to take a while. I mean, those are the types of things that if we want to stop these activities, it's got to be those kinds of steps to stop it. And
How y'all doing today? My name is Deuce Ducarrier, and I got strategies to stop it, and we got to stop it first in the community. Everybody in here know that if anybody goes and become a police at the moment, we all know that. And that's what the problems is. We put so much stress on ourselves, we can't grow. It's a lot of brothers that be like, I want to become a police, but I can't because my cousin going to disown me. My brother going to look at me like I'm fake. That's where the problem is. We never going to go anywhere if that keeps up. I already know. Because it's so many things that people want to do and venture out. Astronauts. How can a black man sit down and talk to his friends about to stars? Everybody gonna say, I don't want to hear about that. So when we start thinking, like, we gotta think big, like, hey, we're people, black people, white people, everybody do all types of things. That's how we was built. That's how we built America. So when we stop bringing it on ourselves first and allow ourselves to expand like that, don't put no heat on no brothers, because if you really want help, we gotta be in the judicial system, and we gotta be in the political world. How can we ever make any moves if no one else is there and they're not for us? You know?
it's still, I agree. It's still systemic. That I mean, when we're really good friends here, obviously, but there's still systemic issues. So that even if you get a black police officer there's still a system there that they become part of the system. So that's why I'm saying you still got to have cameras and things like that to break that cycle. Yeah, absolutely.
We support our artists or whatever, we support our football
players.
We gotta support the police, the lawyers, everybody the same way. They're not sellouts.
It's a multiple issue problem. But,
I was just going to say, I agree with you. What you're saying, it's a systemic issue, but it's also a generational issue. So for us to say we need to encourage all of our people, we do. You know, you're definitely right about that. But they also got to know, as an individual, everybody's not going to support them. I mean, you know how much pushback I got from people about when I said I'm going to start Hip Hop Gives Back? All the time people are like, oh, I didn't even know they cared. I didn't even know they gave back. You know what I mean? So it's got to be within them to say, yo, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell a few key people who I know are going to support me and go out and do it. Now, to your issue about getting more knowledge and attention around it, it's going to take the video cameras. It's going to take us following up with the judges, but it's going to take people going to city hall meetings. It's going to take people going to the General Assembly meetings and putting pressure on the politicians before they're elected, not waiting until they're already in office, because once they're in office, they really could care less about what we're saying because we're not the ones who put them in office. We got to go to the candidates and find out, yo, what are you going to vote on? Where do you stand on this case? What do you feel about Mike Brown? What do you think it should really happen? What is your solution to keep that from happening in Atlanta? You know what I mean? And Atlanta's a different beast because Atlanta's one of the few cities in the country where you're going to see black and brown faces in leadership positions. So let's not forget that Atlanta is more special, and I can only think of maybe a handful of other cities where it's like that. So places like Ferguson and even in New York, you seen when Eric Garner situation, when they came back and the police force said, no, this is not a chokehold, this is the standard police force. It was all white men who said that, not one black face there. So we got to keep that in mind when we talk about things like that. We got to get our people in those positions, but we got to support them from a time from when they're young And even if they're old, and understand that we got to show up at those meetings other than just hip hop town hall is great, but we got to take this and our knowledge and our representation to those other meetings as well.
One of the most disturbing things I find about this is that everybody is always saying, "Oh, when the old people go, you know, things are going to get so much better." But the thing I find most disturbing is that the cop was 28 years old and white and with an 18-year-old black. We're not dealing with the older generation here. That's the most disturbing thing about this whole thing, is that we're supposed to be better than that, and we're not.
And with all that, in conclusion, with all you guys even saying all your points, different points, and they were all very valid and important, I think that we need young people and young leaders and young people who know that they have those leadership capabilities to step up and speak out. Like you said, it's not always cool. I'm not saying it can't be cool. I'm not trying to be positive and say it's never going to be cool. But this is something, I think I even talked about this last month at the Hip Hop Town Hall with the music, and I said, you know, can we support positive music? If somebody made music that was positive, you know, is it impossible to support it? It's kind of like the same, you know, we have to have those leaders and those people that aren't afraid to step out there, and that they do have their people that say, okay, we'll support it. Because I think about it this way: if just a light clicked off in everyone's head, and we were just for some reason all on the same page and understood law and such and such and such and such, there's so many people, whether they're not living it or really they are living it, that are walking around here with these big old guns and everything else. We have our own army, literally. Like, hip-hop has its own army, and we don't even realize it because we're using it on each other. So, anyway, Black, I know that you had your hand up real quick, and then we're going to get back to you, MC.
How you doing? I'm Black Nicholson, everybody. Welcome to Hip Hop Town Hall. I was just listening to everybody's suggestions and solutions, and I commend everybody for just, you know, sharing a platform, because this is a difficult and timely subject. I think there's always been abuse in authority. So one of the things I suggest is question authority. I don't know what happened to that. It seems like every time somebody in power says do something, we just kind of go with it. And you know, part of me is a conspiracy buff, and the other is just based on facts. And I know that America is very much in the habit of setting its people up. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's black, white, whatever. You can look at JFK to Malcolm X. And I just challenge everybody. I mean, this may not be in a connection, or it might be, but you look at FEMA bringing all these caskets and stuff in. You look at people in with the Ebola virus. I mean, you know, bringing our brothers and sisters over here, you know, just causing this hysteria amongst each other. Then you have situations. I think the politicians call it hope and crisis. You know what I'm saying? They take a bad situation and they come up again with the ice bucket challenge, and I hope it helps people. But you know, it's a distraction to distract us from really what's going on. I mean, is there a connection with all these coffins and police brutality and Ebola? Are they trying to create hysteria from us to, you know, to just go crazy on each other? So I say always question authority, and always try to assemble and discuss these things, because, you know, regardless if there's a plan or not, you always need a platform, because not everybody is a leader, and you got to plant the seed to find those leaders, and then you'll find your supporters. You know what I'm saying? So if there's no platform, there's no seeds planted. I was listening to the brother here, what he said about camera on police. And even though that's that's probably a timely process, I think it's a great process. But, you know, what up with World Star? Everybody holding their cell phones up talking about World Star. Couldn't that suffice right now? And place it at until we can put police responsibility on police with cameras, because I know there's cameras all up and down the street that the government put up. They're on the freeway. You know, it's the death of privacy right now. So why can't we kill their privacy? You know, expose what they're doing 24/7. So I'm with you on that. But again, you know, we're gonna have to get some people through legislature. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, let's change the propaganda. That's what America is built on. You know what I'm saying? So we got to affect our youth. Right now, we're affected by. It seems like there's a lot of. I don't even know if I should call it gang violence, because it just seems like more recruitment than anything right now in this point in time. I remember when Colors was happening, and there was a lot of gang violence. You know what I'm saying? Right now, everybody seems to want to play the part. So let's change the propaganda with gangs. You know what I'm saying? I think I heard one of the forefathers of hip hop, Ice-T, talking about how the gang members was like, nah, Ice, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they want you to do this movie and you out here robbing stores. Nah, we gonna ban you from doing that. Take your ass to Hollywood. Make yourself somebody. Come back and come get some of us. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of powerful brothers throwing the rag up that I've seen around here with a lot of influence. You know what I'm saying? So let's challenge some of our young gangbangers to pull them aside from the street and get them up through college. Let's put some money aside from college because my fellow Africans, the Atrians, they throw $1 in their community up from Florida to Atlanta, no matter where they are, to send their kids to college, and they throw these parties and everybody puts in $1. You know what I'm saying? And they go to college. So why can't we do things like that? You know what I'm saying? Let's change the stigma of gangs right quick and let's make them protect us instead of banging on each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a few suggestions I had talking to everybody, and I hope we can come up with a course of action to support all these. But again, I just thank everybody for taking the challenge and talk about it.
One thing I did want to mention before I hand this off is last week, Kelby from Making It Mag came up with a suggestion for some people to donate $10 so we can do advertising. One of the things that I know I got some suggestions and it was like, oh, put it towards Facebook, and I was like, it's not going to work because a lot of the people that we do reach out to are here in the streets. They're the people. They're the independent artists, our supporters. They're media people. They're artists. They're people who have platforms. So one of the things that I've slowly been doing very shortly, and I know one person I talked to was Blizzard from K100, is just wanting to use those advertising dollars on platforms that I know our people listen to. And by our people, I do mean the hip-hop community. I'm not really just saying black or white or anything. But, and K100 is definitely there. He's always here. And even the same, wanting to come and support it and stream here. So he's also one of the people that, we will be using some of those advertising dollars on, as well as, a couple other people in the room that I have not confirmed things with or, actually requested any quotes or anything from. But, that's just even with us and what we're trying to do and with what I'm trying to do, because, I thought about it and I'm like, okay, if you guys are bringing the money here and, you guys are coming here, then why would I go to some company that doesn't even know we exist, doesn't care that we exist, and like they'll take that bit of money that we did and just, it's nothing to them. Like, I can do a Facebook promo campaign in a week. It's up. And I got 20,000 impressions in 2 clicks. So, and I know she's laughing because but it's true, and that's just really, even the same, just what we're doing and with our part. And like I said, we do want to make sure that, these ideas and, that we do get together on a lot of these ideas, because everything on here is so valid, it's so important that we do need to jump behind it and do these things. Like, even I'm telling you, all 3 of his ideas were super awesome. I know he's gone right now, as well as supporting the sickle cell anemia, and I know Hip Hop Gives Back is here as well. So, like I said, it's something that we all can't do. Like, you can't change your entire life. You can't take your kids out of school and then just start homeschooling them and throw away your driver's license and your birth certificate and everything else. Like, right now, that just is not really a feasible option for anybody, really. So, I just do think that just the conscious thoughts and taking it step by step and every day, you actually thinking a little bit further, like, how can I help myself? How can I help my community? How can I educate myself? How can I build my brand as an artist, that a credible artist that is able to progress outside of just talking about material things? I definitely want to get in touch. I definitely want to get into a lot of these things, the stock profiling and the contact cards and stuff. But yeah, I think that's just pretty much it. So I do want anybody that's interested in any of this stuff and anyone that has thought of these ideas, like, please talk to each other seriously, because especially even the same, like, I know that Africa put that out there, and she's not just like, she didn't just throw that out there just to say, okay, I said something, that's it. Like, she's definitely going to remember that, and probably every other person in this room or whatever. And that's obviously something that she cares a lot about. Same thing with Knox. Like, he's over here, he has Hip Hop Gives Back. It's not going anywhere. He's here. So it's just, like I said, I'm just glad that everyone's here. You get a chance to talk to each other, tell your opinions, which I am going to continue that you guys do that. I just kind of wanted to say some things because I know once 10 o'clock hits, we are going to wrap it up. So I just want to make sure that I say all this now. Also, give a hand to Fort Knox for definitely putting his words and also helping co-host this. Also, hand clap, keep it going for the Omen Agency for helping us do this and keep setting up all the chairs and allowing us here. Also to DI Radiocast and everybody else that is on DIRadiocast.com watching us this evening. Thank you very much. Jerry from Why 'Cause I Can for taking pictures of us. Thank you. You probably have something in here. And everybody else that also came out to support us and that continues to come out to support us. And we'll just keep having this stuff as long as you guys care. And if you don't tell me any topics, I'm just going to keep having it. We're just not going to have a topic and we're just going to keep talking. So, anybody?
I don't know if it was discussed because I don't see it on the board, but someone brought it up about voting. I want to make sure that we are perfectly clear that here's one thing. With me and my platform, I know a lot of artists, and frankly, it's kind of disappointing from my view of how many artists, independent artists, and some mainstream artists that I know who don't vote and are really vocal about not voting and will argue you to tooth and nail why I should not vote, why they should not vote, why voting doesn't make sense. I have artists, the same artists will sing me a Mike Brown song, a dedication to Ferguson and Mike Brown, and then get on Facebook like F voting, F all that, you know what I'm saying, blah blah blah. Now let me just say this. Nothing, no political system is perfect. Everything has its own corruptions. You know what I'm saying? But the way this one works over here, where we're at, this particular one where we're at, it's jacked up. It's got a lot of things wrong, but it does go by votes. People in office make change, okay? And you can't. And before you even get to the political side of it, you also have to cover the economic side, which is supporting businesses that because this is a capitalistic country, money runs everything, right? So that's why lobbying which is basically a form of bribery. You know what I'm saying? It's a form of bribery. It's legal. It's legal for a corporation to go and give millions of dollars, back-ended to a politician to pass a law that's in their interest, right? You have to have economic power in order to influence politics. Politics is what changes policy. That's how it works. So start by investing in and supporting businesses and entities that will turn around and support politicians and help get politicians in office that will enact the change that you want. Now, the main one I want to say is I think one of what Africa was talking about, a plan of action. I think one thing that we need to do with this particular forum is have a voter registration drive. You know what I'm saying? We need to get people registered to vote and we also have to systematically change how a lot of black people and how a lot of the hip hop community feels about voting. Because I'm telling you right now, there's people in the room right now. It's probably like, man, I'm not voting. Because they don't believe it works. They don't think that they like it. No matter who you put in office, they're all crooked, which may technically be right, maybe. But at the end of it, technically that might be right. And you can look at it that way. You can look at it as the glass half full. You know what I'm saying? There's two ways to look at everything, bro. I mean, nothing is perfect. But to sit back to me as a grown-up, you know what I'm saying, and say, F voting and blah, 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 and all that, and then come right back around and complain about stuff that can only get changed through politics, which means you got to vote, is utterly retarded. It's insanity. It's the definition of, doing the same thing and expecting something else to happen. Literally, by definition, is what it is. So I would say to people who, a lot of my hip-hop community and artists may be listening on the cast or whatever who are really anti-voting, I think that you really need to get in your brain to switch that off. Even if you think your vote doesn't count, mind trick yourself into believing that it does. Whatever you have to do to justify you getting up and getting involved in the political process, and not just when something huge like Obama comes about, because that's huge. on a big scale, that's what's gonna influence whether or not we invade Syria. But what happens in your community on the ground, it's really about your local politics. It's really about your mayors, your county commissioners, all right, your congressmen in your district. People will go out and vote. I know people who will vote in the presidential elections but won't vote for local elections. And I'm like, that's counterproductive to whatever it is you're trying to get done right where you stay. You have to vote on your local, state, and then national politics. And if you don't vote, I mean, I know. Oh, I want to see what Black has to say, because I know a lot of people who don't vote, bro. And it's like, for me, I'm like, yo, I don't know if it's gonna work, if it's working or not, but I can't come up with a rational way to make it to say not to vote would be better at the end of the day. So I think voting needs to be something that needs to be addressed on this particular forum.
Real quick, anybody that's ever said that they don't vote or they're not going to vote, is there anything else that they do productive in the community?
Well, it's funny because one of the guys that was telling you about that went to St. Louis. He's a hip hop artist, and he does a lot of like community outreach programs and stuff like that. But he's a diehard anti-voting guy. And I'm like, bro, I don't understand why you go out and do all this and then tell these same people that you go do these food drives for and all that don't get involved in the political process. Because that's essentially what you're telling them. And I've had shows on my broadcast about this at least 10 times, going toe-to-toe with these people, and I just can't talk sense into them. But I'm not trying to really change their mind frame about politics and how corrupt it is. I'm just letting you see that. I want you to understand that maybe you're right. Maybe you have a point, and you do, because politicians are crooked, but that's still no reason not to vote, not to just dismiss the whole political process. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me at all, but you get a lot of them that do that. And none of it's going to change until we get the people in the office, because right now the police union is huge. Police union has a lot of influence. If I'm your congressman and I'm in with my police union, whose side do you think I'm going to come? Whose side do you think I'm going to take? When it comes down to getting the law, essentially it goes back to what you're saying with the cameras, putting cameras on everybody. That's cool. That's a great idea. But understand that even when it comes down to the video, we got video of Eric Gardner being choked out. Cop still has a job. That's not so, and we have that on video. So the video doesn't necessarily constitute change in policy. We have to get people elected that's going to stand up to the police unions and say, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna stop having police themselves. We're gonna have independent people who are not policemen, who are not district attorneys, because the district attorneys, the people who decide whether the guy, for instance, the guy who's the district attorney who's going to decide whether or not to bring the indictment against Darren Wilson. Do you realize that this guy's brother is a cop, his mother works at the police station, and his father was killed by a black man when he was a kid? That's the district attorney in Ferguson. That's the guy that's in charge of making sure that this guy gets indicted. That district attorney, that's him. Won't remove himself. Think about it. Think about that. When you stop and really just say, that's beyond crazy to me. He doesn't have to remove himself. The only person that can remove him is the governor, and the governor hasn't done it. So before we even talk about prosecution and justice and all that, we got to get an indictment on this guy, and this is the guy who's in charge of that? Seriously? Come on, man. So it's when it comes to politics and stuff like that, you district attorneys get voted in. Guess what he told us? Guess what he said? I was voted in by the people to do a job, and I'll do it. But people put that prosecutor right there in Ferguson. Whether or not he's going to do his job is to be said. We don't know that, but the point is the process of voting has to be highlighted in the hip-hop community. People have to quit. All these rappers right here on my Facebook timeline talking about all this other stuff and how they F-voting and all this right here, but you got a Mike Brown song. I don't even really want to play your record. I'm just going to pretty much trash you. I only want to hear your record, homie, because you're really not even going to help the process. All you're going to do is give me a song and eat up 3 minutes of airtime at the end of the day.
That's what I meant when I said the whole mixtape thing. And just to let you know, politics is usually corrupt, or they become corrupt, or politicians, because there are many different people and many different sides vying for their attention and their voting power. So they will take their money and push it towards these politicians or other things that they know are in their benefit. So if we have that voting power at some point, I know this sounds really bad, but we may be those corrupt individuals as well.
Yeah, I want to speak on a couple things. First, starting with the voting. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, where the Confederate flag still waves in front of the Capitol. And during the last election for Obama, I know over 100 people on my Facebook page who were still in line to vote after they said South Carolina had went Republican. So how can it become a red state and it's still people out there voting? Also, if you remember back in the day, I remember when I was a little bit older than her, when KRS-One dropped Black Cop. Like, we could put these black people into office, we could put more black people into uniforms to be police, but how are we going to stop them from converting to what's already going on in order to keep their job? And also, one more thing, I want to speak on what you said about people being scared to speak up. I've been doing the type of music I've been doing since I was in high school, speaking on what's going on in politics and just how we've been treated by the police and all that. And I've gone to people for management and stuff like that. And as soon as they want me to do the whole turn up thing, I could do that because I go out and stuff. But my heart is in politics and trying to uplift my people. But as soon as I do that, people run off because they scared of the consequences that might come behind it. And they know me, I die for what I believe in. That's real. Exactly.
I want to actually compliment Blizzum as far as voting goes. And also, first, before I get started, I want to compliment this young lady for her attention span being for so long. She stayed. Everybody give her a hand. Look, yeah. And this actually segues into my conversation. Why don't we reward the youth? I mean, I'm trying to pick up where Africa started off. Let's get to some real solutions. Let's pick up some real challenges, right? And like the brother pointed out over here, there's a stigma in our community about, you know, when we take a position of power and what side we're on and all that kind of stuff, and the children go unrewarded. You know what I'm saying? I was here for the birth of hip hop, and I can honestly say that it seems like the powers that be, since it's become corporate, reward ignorance. You know what I'm saying? You put on the dress, you get some money, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Well, how about somebody becoming a young politician and people like us? You know, if it starts with a small organization like us going into a school and letting other kids say, here's a reward for you pursuing your politics and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Let the other kids see that that's cool. That's what's up. Because, you know, I'm going to read a quote off Instagram, and I thought this was real. I just clicked up on it, and actually my man Decatur Ike, I don't know if Ike is in the building. I'm going to censor this, but it says, the good brothers getting killed, the rats walking around smiling, brothers is dressing like women, women are having more sex than men, street guys are on the down low, too many people think they famous. These kids don't respect nothing. The whole game is messed up, okay? Now, again, I'm looking at the cup half full because air is mass. You know what I'm saying? It's never half empty for me. So if stuff is really this bad, this is the perfect time for reprogramming our youth. You know what I'm saying? Because everything's messed up anyway. You know what I'm saying? So why not add some balance? That's what the universe is based on, right? I'm going to look at my man Trick, okay? I'm from Detroit, and I know this is controversial. We got stuck on this last week with real hip-hop. But Trick, I am from Detroit, and I know that Trick, he's a good brother. He's a firm brother, and he has his belief, and he, believe it or not, he has evolved. Trick is a professional bully, professional gangbanger. I can remember him beating cats up, stripping them naked, and throwing them in garbage cans since 1985. You know what I'm saying? So this is real. But this brother has turned himself into a political figure in Detroit and has grown out of that ignorance for the most part and represents a lot of good things. And guess what? His beliefs might not have been perfect like another brother we know, Malcolm X. People believe in him. They know he doesn't compromise. So now the politicians put up billboards of Trick around the city to some degree. You know what I'm saying? He does have a political influence. So as he turns more positive and we can kind of help each one teach one and make sure the brother stays on the right path, we can kind of identify those heroes. So let's look in the community because, again, everybody ain't Malcolm X. You know, somebody might be standing next to Malcolm X or standing to the man next to Malcolm X. But, you know, let's support them. Let's identify them. Let's support them, and let's reward them. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest thing that we can do is start rewarding some of the stuff that we don't deem as cool. You know what I'm saying? If it's a police officer that you really get in your heart's in the right place, who knows? What you say? The man who's in charge over there father got killed by a black man? You know what I'm saying? Shit, what if my father got killed by a black man? You know what I'm saying? I still would want to level it out. And what if my father got killed by a white man, Chinese man? You know what I'm saying? It's still murder. You know what I'm saying? So let's find those people that's willing to challenge those things and reward them. Let's get behind them and lift them up every chance we get. Playing, 'cause I think a lot with our community, we care too much about what the man next to us is thinking about us. You know what I'm saying? And if you getting on your knees and you bumping your head and you making prayer and you taking care of your family and you doing right by your neighbor, then hell, you just as good as anybody in my eyes. That's what
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I came in late. My name is DJ Brandon. Nice to see y'all beautiful faces. Clearing up confusion, this capacity building is in my eyes for Knox. So I want to clear up some confusion. He said something about he said something about South Carolina. They declared a poll after there's 100 people standing in line, right? That's what you said. Well, this is not. Well, what that is just a projection that they do in polling. As you know, in polling, black men, black people, it's black men especially, black people, underrepresented in polling. So, but CNN, this thing, research, and they have the knowledge of the disenfranchisement of the black man in South Carolina, like all of us do. So they just call the election. Doesn't mean that. That's not Christian. They already know. They already know. They know the history. It's not going to change the outcome. Doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job. It just is what it is. I just want to clear that up.
There's also other levels. I'm sure Google can explain to you the actual judicial system as well. You know, but.
All right, as far as a plan of action, I know this is what I'm going to do. Events like this, people need to be at. You know what I'm saying? They need to be here. They need to be tuned in. I don't learn so much. You know what I'm saying? So I really thank you so much, for real. I'm telling you, every time I come out to these events, I always learn something else. But on top of that, I know other people who need to be here. You know what I'm saying? So supporting K100, supporting your events, supporting the Omen agency. We have to support these businesses, not just because, you know what I'm saying, this is like a black-owned type. No, it's just supporting people who provide resources and opportunities for people to be successful, for people to be knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? For people to actually make moves and actually understand where they're supposed to be in life. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out to events like this. I'm going to network, say, hey, look, what do you do? Oh, you need to meet black. You know what I'm saying? You need to get connected with the Omen agency. You need to come out to this event, man. They got so much knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to do.
Just real quick, I just wanted to reiterate what he was saying about voting. Local elections. The percentages and numbers of so low people show up for local elections. The hip-hop community can have a direct effect on those the next election. Now, we ain't got to wait for the next presidential one. No, very few people show up. I'm not going to say no one. Very few people show up to vote in local elections. Aldermen, city council. Offices like these are the ones we can directly affect, and we can have conversations with people running for office. We can schedule meetings with them and say, this is what we need. This is what the problem I'm having it with. So just focus. I say we start focusing on those. Start in Atlanta. I don't even live in the city of Atlanta, but I have no problem because I know that's where most of my people are. The outer lines of the surrounding areas, other neighborhoods, they follow what the city of Atlanta does as far as legislature. So we can use that as a barometer for the things that's about to change. We have a brother, Mecca, DJsDoingWork.com. He put a group together, and they went out to some, and they registered over 5,000 voters. He was posting about it on Instagram. I'm going to contact him about registering some more voters, see if we could do something at some more events, maybe even next month here. You know what I mean? Because I know that we're going to have some people who've never registered to vote before who come out to these events. So things like this are happening as far as supporting others and things like that. People are doing things. We just need to support them more. So like I said, DJ's doing work. He's registering people to vote. I'm going to see about getting a couple people who are really in tune with the upcoming election. Maybe even get one of the politicians or candidates running so they can speak their piece as well. Same way they do it at church, and they support them there. They do it. We could do the same thing here. You know what I mean? So this is what this arena is for. So as well as learning about the business and helping artists grow more and become more profitable. You want to say somebody want to say something? All right, thank you.
I got a couple things to touch on. Speaking on these things and just like numbers and statistics and facts. That's what I like to go by, the facts. If you look at it, it's all in the artist. That's what creates everything. If you look at the 60s and the 70s, when everybody was singing in the 50s about love and marriage, 65% of black households, 70% was married. They just follow the music. That's what happens. That's just the way it is. Another thing we got to do as artists is stop being so stereotypical. I think people are so scared. You know, they don't want to go against the grain. They just like, ooh, but what they think that they're doing right is really hurting them because there's no money in that field and there's no longevity and it's nothing good. I seen something on Facebook the other day where they had Fat Trail. They said he's bad for the black community. I know Fat Trail personally. We did a record together. Not bad for the black community if you know him personally, but the image that he's giving off, look how people judge. Bad. I don't like that. But that's what people will do out here. Another thing is early 90s, look at the music, brought gangbanging. You see, the 80s was the black movement, 70s and stuff like that. Gangbanging was cool. You look at the murder rate in New York, 2,000 people back in the early 90s. Crack cocaine and killing people out in LA was cool. When Wiz Khalifa came along and said, let's smoke, all the gangbanging became not that cool no more. And these are the type of things that I'm showing that we have the structure when you see how the music, it's not the athletes, it's not the actors. I don't care what the actors say, nobody's thinking that they're cool. Everybody's thinking that the artists are cool. The athletes a little bit, but they don't really, they're athletes. They don't really speak too much. As an artist, your tool is your mouth. So everybody looking forward to you to use your mouth and everybody's silent because they weren't about someone who don't care about something that they relate to, like that they relate to supporting them. I don't care, man. If you don't care about people getting unarmed, gunned down in the street when they're unarmed, you don't need to buy my album. It's not all about that. Trying to play it safe sometimes and thinking that you're saving your money and saving your career is really hurting you in the long run because you're not being real with yourself. That's the problem. Nobody being real. They need to really be themselves. I'm gonna get through this real fast. I got a couple more things. Another thing is then it comes to the Nas, how he brings the consciousness and things like that. KRS-One bringing the consciousness, and look at how it changes people and put people in a different realm. Also, we set trends all the time. When it's a new, whatever be like, or the memes or the whatever, we set that, but we ain't set no laws or nothing else. This is what don't make no sense. The power, there is not no one more technologically savvy than the urban culture. But we got the technology, the video games, the fashion, the sayings, but don't have one law in place and don't have no structure, but all this social network structure. That's a problem. Got to work on that. And the only way it's going to happen is with it being a relatable leader. See, we judging so hard because things change. You see, in the 70s and then the 80s come, the people in the 70s look at the way the people in the 80s dress and make fun of that. And the 80s make fun of the 90s. Everyone will always have a problem with the dressing, but you can't turn your back to somebody because they got skinny jeans. Now their brain is stupid. Or because they got dreads, now they don't have an education, or they don't know nothing. That's what I hear a lot. On Facebook, on Twitter, I get a lot of, oh, you a faggot. I'm going to keep it real with you. That's how they talk. Just because you judging. Brother, my mind is smart. I'm here for you more than you is for yourself. But you already done judged. How can you ever have any future leaders if everybody judging that fast out the gate? Oh, he got dreads, he a hooligan. Oh, he got some skinny jeans, he a sellout. He don't know what he talking. This is corny. We don't support none of our leaders. I say a name, tell me what you seen. Jay-Z, Illuminati. Oprah Winfrey, not real. Will Smith, sellout. Everybody. And then if a black man walking down the street and somebody run up on him and lay him down with a shotgun and put the strap to him and run his pockets, everybody say, I ain't going to support him no more. He a punk. Yeah, World Star. Oh, no, World Star for the pregnant woman getting kicked in her stomach. That's when it's World Star. I know y'all seen the video with the man stabbing the man, everybody standing around being cowards. They being cowards and they being selfish. That's why I don't get into too many selfies because I'm not into that selfishness. I'd rather take a picture of my family. I'd rather take a picture of my peoples before I take a picture of myself. I'm going to keep it real with y'all.
It's too much confusion and and no organization, like my man said earlier. Just like you was talking about with the voting, all of those things start because somebody put something up on Facebook one day, and now your whole tradition and your culture, the way you was raised and everything, you switch it and change your mind. Everybody got a different belief. You notice that everybody got a different way that they go about something. Oh no, this ain't true. It's too much confusion. People got to just be a little bit, like my man said earlier, a lot more organized. And then when what you said, the police converting when they're in the system, how they change. You know why they change? Because their environment. It's not enough of them for them to stay real. You see what I'm saying? So as soon as you go in, you get stripped of your realness. And then you start looking at your peoples that you grew up with, and they already done turned their back on you once again, like they did to do. Everybody's getting their back turned on. Skinny jeans, you get your back turned on. Police officer, you get your back turned on. Dreads, you get your back turned on. Everything you get your back turned on. That's the way it do. And that's from us. Not us in this building. Obviously, we try to make a change, but from a lot of other people. A lot of people have that IDGAF attitude. You feel what I'm saying? Live by logic and not opinions. I'm hearing some crazy opinions thrown out. I hear people just say, oh, he probably thinking this, and going with a long story. That's a lot of problems in the community. You ain't got no evidence, no facts. I don't think he's thinking all of that. He might just be over there thinking about paying some bills, and you thinking that he's thinking about hating on you or something like that. That's a big, big problem. You see what I'm saying? You know, we got to speak with facts. Facts is the only way we're going to be heard. When we're speaking to the people that speak with facts back, and we come with facts and statistics, it eliminates everything. You see what I'm saying? You can't just jump out there blindly and start supporting something you don't know what's going on. Everybody just talking and don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of division, a lot of judging, and I say we slave masters to ourselves. Ain't nobody got nobody in no chains. Slave masters to ourselves with division. That's why I like your name, Africa. Speaking of Africa, there's over what, 2,000 languages? Everybody look the same? It's not like that in Ireland. See the division? We bring it from the ancestors, we still dividing. You see what I'm saying? And that's the reason why nothing can never go. When everybody start the division and all the dividing, oh, I'm from Atlanta, oh, I'm from New York, oh, I'm from New York too, but I'm from Brooklyn, oh, I'm from Brooklyn like you, but I'm from such and such street. It just keeps on narrowing down until you just down to the smallest of the smallest. You can't grow that way. And we don't need to turn our back on no other races because people like our culture. Embrace. It's 45 million African Americans. Did y'all know that? That ain't nothing. 325 million people in America. If they want to, everybody, they could do us wrong. People love us. That's why they mess with us. You know what I'm saying? So we can't turn our back when people trying to support us. You see Ferguson. It's some white people out there. It's some Spanish people out there. They mess with the movement because they know what's right and what's wrong. And shooting somebody in their head when they're unarmed is wrong. And then and we gotta make some changes, man. I'm really down for the changes. I'm not just gonna come here and talk. I'm really down for the changes, man. The changes first. We got before you can work on anything outside the house, you gotta fix your home first. By stopping the division and stopping the judging. To me, I think by taking it out here today and we apply it in the streets. So next time you sit next to somebody, you in the barbershop, somebody walk in, somebody say something about somebody, and you know them. I'm not saying check somebody you don't know and start a problem, but you know them, you say, well, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, you swag it the way that you know best. And it's got to be one person at a time. Everybody's so busy, and that's the only way to apply it. Once we do that, and then once you hit them with that, it'll stick with them, and they'll do the same. They'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. But if we turn our back on all the way that everyone, the way everybody dresses now, or the way everybody talks now, these are our future leaders. Just because they don't look like Al Sharpton don't look like the way they looked in the 20s. They will turn their back on him and say he's a hoodlum. He come through with his hair certain type of ways and suits on looking flashy. That's how they might take it. I take it like it's Sharp. It's just the way it is. Don't nobody even support Al Sharpton. I say that name. I seen a man on film cussing out Jesse Jackson. That's our structure, but we want to sit up there and these rappers like you talking about, they don't even know what a lot of them talking about. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're just saying something and following something, but they have so much power. And that's the problem. So before you got a lot of power, you open up your mouth, you gotta be right. That's all I want to say to get something off my chest.
just before I pass on the mic to kind of go what he was talking about. As much as he kept saying it, I kept thinking about the Stop Profiling campaign. If we have any people that actually draw or really good graphic designers or something in the building, please come see me afterwards. I have a really good idea. And of course, I'll be sharing it with Knox. One of the funny things that I looked at a couple months ago before even I was looking at the statistics, and they talk about the consumerism of the African Americans. And one of the things, of course, after you get past the fact that we spend a whole bunch of money, and we spend a whole bunch of money on hair and shoes and this and that, one of the things that they put in the section, it was about, I can't remember exactly what they called it. I feel like it was like the hip hop baller or something of that. It was like really funny where you're like, really, this is what y'all are calling it? Y'all are late. But underneath it, they were describing who this person is, who this consumer is. It's a young person, you know, it's usually like late teens or mid-teens to early 20s, and they buy a lot of stuff. They buy certain shoes, and they, you know, they have a lot of influence. The funny thing about this is that the majority of those people were white. So it's just like he said, it's not really a color thing. So right inside, it's like funny because inside of the problems or, you know, how to get in touch with the black dollar, you have people outside of our community that weigh in just as much on that same dollar and that are supporting our community that much that they're starting to pay attention to them. And that's why you see a lot of these artists like the Iggy's and the Macklemores and all these other people being paid attention to, because that, and winning when it comes to album sales and stuff, because that's how many people are so in touch with our culture that we don't even think about or say, oh, they're whatever. But then when somebody pops up like that, it's like, where'd they come from? How did they do that? It's like, because they got 100,000 people that went out and bought their concert tickets. So you had something to say.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base again on the voting. That is very important in terms of local voting, and I think a lot of people don't vote for local politicians because they don't even know who's running. So I think it's great to actually get behind that individual that has the same vision that the community have, and actually put that out on Facebook rather than all the bad stuff that's going on, and educate people, because, you know, knowledge is key, knowledge is power, but if you don't use that knowledge, then it's wasted. So I'd say basically, you know, in terms of educating people to vote, because everyone came out to vote for Obama, of course, but it starts in your local community. So you want to actually start there first, small, and educate people how it can actually make a difference in terms of voting. If they never voted or don't think voting makes a difference, but if they start voting in their local community and it makes a difference, that politician that you're educated on and stand behind, he stands behind what you're doing, then they're going to see, wow, that does actually make a difference, and then actually start you know, even bigger. But you know, that's one main point. I definitely hope we do organize something regarding education and voting and going after and learning. The other point is the music. I spoke to a bishop last week, and he said it's the stuff that's on the radio that's causing all this violence. He said, in his opinion, it's the music. The music, every time you turn on the music, it's talking about it's okay to smoke weed or okay to shoot someone, have your gun, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, K100 has a great platform. Other independent radio station, internet radio stations have a great platform in terms of independent artists that's actually voicing their opinion. But if on a mainstream level, is all you that know anything about the other outlets, that's what they're going to believe what the issue is, because the media controls what you see and then a radio station controls what you hear. But voices need to be heard and things need to be organized to get people more knowledgeable what's other avenues out there that you can actually hear and get information from. So that's why I said, you know, knowledge is key and powerful, but if you don't use it, then it's, you know, no use.
One thing I want just real quick. You asked Knox asked you, how do you? He asked you. You said, well, stop. How do you stop this and that? I think one thing that we also need to do a plan of action beyond voting before we even get there. Before we get to where the guy tells you hold up at the barbershop, and Knox, you said start at home. It starts at home. One plan of action we really got to start focusing on is home, and as me as a black man personally. Gotta start taking care of raising your kids, bro. Got to be involved in your kids' life. Your mama, your grandmama, your auntie, and all that can't be raising your kids. You know what I'm saying? I got an 11-year-old son. My son gets all his information about real life. He watches. He loves Instagram. He likes cartoons. He loves hip hop. But he gets his life decisions about how to handle the police, about voting, about politics, about Ferguson. He gets that directly from me. Now if I'm wrong, then yeah, I'm teaching him wrong, and that is what it is. And if I'm wrong, and he grows up to a certain age, and he realizes maybe daddy wasn't right on that one particular thing, that's okay. Because my mama told me some stuff that I know my mama wasn't right about now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I know mama she was just telling me that, but she's not right. I just don't agree with you, mama, and I love her. You know what I'm saying? But fellas, one cause that me personally that I've been involved with lately is really getting the black man to be the man and the head of the household. Again, you know what I'm saying? Even if you're not with the baby mama or whatever, that's no reason for you to not be involved in your child life. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, and that's a lot of the problem. Before we even get beyond to where you were talking about, before we get there, this is where it has to start and change. We have to get the involvement of our fathers back in the lives. And if you know somebody, man, and the daddy locked up, whatever, man, and you see, I got 2 kids that live in my neighborhood. Those guys come over to I feed these guys at least 3 times a week because I know for a fact their mom is a single struggling mama. I know she got it. She all right over there, but I know their daddy is locked up. You know what I'm saying? And so these dudes sit over here and I chop it up with these little dudes. This is my son's friends. I chop it up with these little dudes like they minds of my nephews or something all the time and try and give them game and try and talk to them because I know their mama may tell them one thing, but it's different when it comes from somebody that look like you. You know what I'm saying? Who got the same parts as you. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't even know father. Their mother tough is I know she's nice and I speak to her when we going in and out of the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? But to me it's like if you got a chance to give a little man some game, man, you know what I'm saying, do that. Especially these black men, not to take away from our daughters too. Men, we gotta love and respect our daughters too, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, we love strippers, but I don't want my daughter to be one. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think out beyond to where he was talking out, we got to have some movements and some stuff. We got to have empower some of the fathers. Maybe a platform about fathers and their rights. You know, we got a lot of trifling women out here who use their kids as leverage. You know what I'm saying? Who don't let them see their sons because they didn't get the right amount of child support. We can connect them with maybe pro bono lawyers, family lawyers who can get them some rights and get some visitation going on with their kids. All kind of stuff like that. All that really, before we even get to voting and get to any of that, we gotta fix that right there because that's like literally ground zero, I think. So I wanted to make sure I add that because he said something when not still. Well, what do you think? I was like, hey, before he get there, he gotta get the family. Daddy somebody gotta check these kids before they even get to the level of thinking that way, that negative way that you're thinking. You know what I'm saying?
After you say something, no, you ain't gotta sit down. No, you don't have to sit down. Stand up. After you say something, I want you to kind of just share what you've been running around talking to everybody about. Maybe somebody else might be interested in what you got going on.
Okay. And just what my PD said, man, yeah, definitely, because I'm a divorced kid. My father has been active in my life, but he has hesitated because he just don't want to deal with my mama, and that's back history on that. But when he was allowed to come in my mother's house and my brother did not do what he's supposed to do, like take out the trash, my dad would just look at the trash and be like, do something about this, and immediately. And it's like what comedian Chris Rock said, there's nothing like, I'm going to tell your daddy. And I always tell my dad, even when he feels that I don't want to deal with your mama, I'm like, Dad, remember, Dad, remember, Mom can't stand up when she pees. So what you gonna tell? You need to, just be a little bit more active. And I understand, me. I'm not a man, so I'm just like, but fight. Just be persistent on that. But and going back to the education, I am a granddaughter of a history teacher, and she always teaches me, my cousin, my brothers to be active and educated. And I pulled this out of my wallet, and to people that can't see it, this is a library card. Yes, I do use it. I've used it lately. If anybody's like, you probably ain't using it, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, invest in your future, because guess how much a library card is, y'all? Yes, free 99. So yes, free 99, brother. Yeah, but so just get education. Go to your local library, and it is free 99. The only time you have to pay is if you lose this thing. But yeah, and just go get books, because after his stint on the Ferguson thing, which by the way, is it still up? Listen to it. Listen to it. And after he was done with the show, I texted him, it's time to get an economic book. And he's like, right. And so, and also, who has an Amazon.com account? Raise your hand. Yeah. All right. Y'all buy. Of course, y'all know y'all buy things, but also, people, Amazon.com also sells books. And what I recently did, I talked to my grandmother, and I told my grandmother, because I do have a job and I'm paying bills, but I want to get these books to educate, and I don't just want to read it from the library and then in 2 weeks take it back. I actually want to buy these. So what I did, and some of y'all, who's probably my age or not, go to the one that's money, and usually your grandparents got the money. But instead of just, probably money, I'm going to go get these kicks, because like I said, my grandmother is a former educator and still active in her community. She's trying to get a museum going in Mississippi. So look up Jesse B. Williams if you're from Mississippi. But anyway, but I told my grandmother, and I asked my grandma, not all the time, but like every 3 months, Grandma, I'm not just asking you for money, I'm asking you to invest in me, invest in my education, because I know I'm not in school, and she understands, school ain't for everybody, and I want to make it up to her that I can still get my education. So what y'all can do, and anybody that's in my age group, or suggest that to any young person, ask ask the grandmother, or grandparent, whatever, to invest. And I asked her, Grandma, every 3 months, $50, 25, I'll take it, but whatever you can. And now my grandmother has an iPhone. She's still learning it, but still, my plan with that is, when I get the $50, buy the book that I want to get, an economic book, a law book, not, more education on the law and what I can do. And I want to, take a picture, of it and show to my grandmother, you're not just giving me money. You're not just giving me money. And I told her, you're investing in me, and my grandmother's my investor. So, ask for an investor in your family, or for these young kids, be an investor. It's like, because everybody, money is a major thing. So use that money and be like, okay, I will give you money, but this is the conditions of it, of what you need to get. If you want to get Jordans, you got to learn to save, this, that, and the third. But I'm giving you this money to give a book, because it does start at home. There's a book by Dr. Ben Carson. And for those that don't know Dr. Ben Carson, that's the black black surgeon that, separated the twins. And he has a story called, Big Hands Gift and stuff. And that was, given to me by my grandma. And he was raised in a single mother household. His mother, couldn't read, was depressed, but she always pressed on him, and he made grades. But when the mother started getting active with him and his brother and stuff, his grades turned around. And by the way, they even did a movie adaptation, and it's featuring Kimberly Elise and Cuba Gooding Jr. And the last time I saw it, it's on Netflix. It was on TNT for a little while, but it's also on Netflix, so check that out. But anyway, the point is, this surgeon had his mother, get into him. And single parent household, I'm raised in a single parent household, but I know I got, But I know I got decent grades because my mom was like, okay, you want to act a fool? Give me your iPod, this, that, and the third. We have to be active on that. So I'm just saying, invest in education because it's free and you can, and if you can't buy the book, remember, library card. Just turn it in on time so you don't have to pay the late fees.
I got a problem doing that.
I guess just to recap what we were talking about earlier. Hip Hop Gets Back. We got a couple of initiatives that we got coming up. The next one is at One Music Fest. We're doing that with Black Celebrity Giving. That's going to take collecting canned food, perishables, and like I said, I'm gonna get the business cards made with the city council information for people if they get pulled over by the police. If any kind of gripe with the police that they encounter, they can do. I'll have a representation for each county. We're gonna have another panel at A3C talking about hip hop and the anatomy of a movement. We're doing that with them in October. That's going to be going on at Morehouse this year as part of a A3C action. Tomorrow, what I was talking about earlier, it's a continuation of the march that we had last week for Mike Brown. It's at Hagar's, where is it at? What is it? Hagar's Palace, 19 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. I'm going to be there. It's called It's Bigger Than You. We'll talk back about valuing brown bodies. I'll hashtag it with Hip Hop Town Hall so you ain't got to follow a bunch of different people, make it easy for everybody. But that's going on tomorrow, 6:30. And I think that, real quick, we were talking about minorities and, raising our kids and the things that they look at and things like that. We have a panel that we've been doing the last 2 years at Tri-Cities High School called Minorities in the Media, where we bring out professionals and artists and people behind the scenes. We've had reality show producers. We had DJ Cash from We the Best. We had Nina Brown. They come out and they speak to how minorities are portrayed in the media. So we talked about reality shows. We talked about World Star. We talked about just how I would look to expect this much. So basically, we just tried to break down the truth behind it, what's real, what's fake, and how it affects us as a people. So, like I said, we've done that for the last 2 years at Tri-Cities, but this year we're expanding that to, I believe, 5 high schools that signed up. We're going to be doing one per month. We're going to start that in November and run that through the second semester. So if anybody wants more information about that, it'll be on our website, Hip Hop Gets Back. It's all Hip Hop Gets Back. Instagram, Facebook, email, all of that. Hip Hop Gets Back. If it doesn't come to me because of somebody, one of our volunteers, and they will definitely get it to me. If you want my information, let me know. I'll be here every month. Renee knows that, so I'm not hard to find. We're not hard to get in contact with. Appreciate it.
Fort Knox also suggested if you could just send me whatever the little things that you do have coming up that you have flyers for, just email it over to me and I'll send it to everybody that has put their contact on that list. If you did not put your contact on that list, please do so before you leave. Oh, word? I was about to say. Look, no, but seriously though, I mean, it's 9:57.
Yeah, it's 9:57. It's 9:57. You were talking about having a representative come out. I do have, again, I'm a part of the Atlanta Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. We do a series of educational forums every month. The third Saturday of every month, you can come out to Herzing University, and that's over at Lenox Mall. We do educational series on different things. We also have 2 people that are running for office in our membership. So if you'd like to have somebody come out and talk about actually being a part of the judicial system or even a part of the legislative system, we can definitely have them come out and speak. They were actually supposed to come here tonight, but other things. In addition to that, like I said, we have that also DI Radiocast. While we do focus on music, we do music, business, and technology. And one of the biggest things is I don't think people really understand how important it is to know that you are a business. If you carry yourself as a business, you'll start to see things a lot different. You'll understand the importance of the judicial system and the legislative system and everything like that. Like, I'm not American. I'm from the Bahamas. My mother was a diplomat, and we traveled back and forth. So I come from a long line of lawyers, politicians, and police officers. Actually, my mother was the first female police officer in the Bahamas. So I come from a line of people that were a part of the government. So as a person that comes from that type of background, I feel that it's imperative that we give out information, not just because, like, we talk about blacks and whites, but it's about the haves and the have-nots. And that's really what it is. If you before Ferguson happened, before the gentleman got choked out on the camera, there were a whole bunch of things going on. Like, they're actually trying to segregate Harlem. They're segregating Harlem. They have Soho and NoHo. Like, what is that? NoHo and Naha? I don't even understand what that is. But they're trying to change. They're rebranding our communities, and we're sitting by idly allowing it to happen because we're so caught up with all of the propaganda that's being pushed through our social platforms. Now, when Mike Brown happened, that exact same day, I saw five people. I saw it in my timeline. Not only was it the guy that had recently died a week before from getting choked out by the police, Mike Brown died. I was in my timeline, and a woman was face down in the street, shot 4 times, got 4 kids at home. And they don't feel any type of way showing these graphic pictures. We are creating the hysteria. We are part of the propaganda agent. We're reposting and sharing this stuff and looking at it and making these commentary as if it doesn't faze us. But then tomorrow, when it happens to you or it happens to your brother, all of a sudden we want to stand up and raise our goddamn hands. And I want to apologize to the young lady here because I didn't realize that a kid was here, so I do want to apologize. But we have to take a look inward. He said he doesn't like selfies, but we need to take a look inward. Look at the person in the mirror, look at the person in the camera. We are causing a lot of this hysteria and sensationalizing a lot of the stuff that's going on. The stuff that's going on is we're a part of the problem. We have to actively change that. But we have conversations every month. Every month there's a conversation. You can log on to DI Radiocast. If you have a conversation that you like to have, we can reach out to people. Again, the beautiful thing about being a part of a community organization, you meet people that you wouldn't necessarily meet. So yeah, it's great to be a part of hip hop, but you need to grow up, pull your pants up, and have a conversation with an older person, because there's a lot of things that they can help you with. And you can get in the room with different types of people. I can look just like this and have a conversation with people of influence. So if there's anybody that you would like to have a conversation with or you want to talk to, give me a call, we'll set it up, and we'll create a stream based around your topics. Thank you very much. My name is Africa Allah, diradiocast.com, everywhere on the internet.
And I'm gonna let everybody go because it's 10 o'clock. I just kind of want to close, and it kind of goes back to one thing to me. And I was taught this again, conspiracy theorist right here, tricknology. Everybody heard that word, tricknology? It's about taking your knowledge and playing tricks on you. So I think we ought to employ tricknology in the homes. And like the brother said, where'd the brother go? Up here. One person at a time. You know what I'm saying? When y'all leave today, try to change the stereotypes. If somebody's looking at you crazy and you think they're expecting a certain kind of behavior out of you, you know what I'm saying? Do the opposite. Surprise them. You know what I'm saying? Affect people one person at a time. I think that's what everybody should do. That's the start.
Thank y'all for coming out and rocking with us. We'll be back next month to get it popping. Omen Agency, Hip Hop Town Hall, Renee, Fort Knox, DR Radio Cast. God bless.